friends, and welcome back to the DayOne show, episode 322. Number It's a show, podcast, it's a conversation, and it's all about video games. As you know, we're a fiercely independent team, and we're community driven too, thanks to you lovely lot with the sexiest video game website on the internet. And it's all made possible by you lovely guys, and we appreciate you. So big shout outs to all of our members, whether you're a member of our YouTube or Patreon or the DayOne website itself. We love you all, especially our grand benefactors, Crowd56 and Assassin, and our wonderful CEOs, Torn Raptor and Kevin S. Today, as not per usual, but actually it's starting to feel pretty regular now, is the lovely Sam Tolbert from Campaign Mode. Welcome back once again, sir.
Yeah, this is becoming semi-regular still feels too strong, I think, but it's happening a couple of times now. I mean, Nick is out again, so what can I say? It's like,
honestly,
all right, sure.
I'm loving it. Like, and I actually saw multiple comments saying like how well you've weaved in. I can just feel like you've always been around, so it's always nice to see that.
That's good to hear. The comment that got a lot of upvotes last time and really cracked me up was, I knew Nick wasn't on when I saw the 2-hour mark.
yeah. Like, isn't it interesting? Like, I don't know, he's on holiday, so I don't actually mean this before Nick comments that he actually thinks I mean this, but it's like when he's in my time zone. Somehow, suddenly you realise staying up till 3 a.m. is not the one.
Well, yeah, starting at midnight his time instead of 7 a.m. It's a big difference.
Yeah, big difference. And speaking of that other voice in the room, the lovely Jesse is here, looking intellectual nowadays. How you doing, bro? What's going on? Yeah, there you go.
There, in honor of Nick not being here.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I think I don't know if this is the last one. Nick, for once, has a good internet connection, but he says he's been in a hotel this week and he just couldn't find a good spot to join us. I fully expect him to pop up in the chat and still be there, join his kids. But hey, we've made it through another week, and it has been a week. And before we get into all the nitty and gritty, which we will, I just wanted to take a moment, like, for example, today's Saturday, and although I did do a bit of work, I worked last night. I was working on a review. I did a tiny bit of work this morning. I had this plan to sort of go out and just spend the day and relax a little bit, try and unplug from the internet and the conversations and the vitriol. No, I wanted to. Don't boo me. I'm right. But it kind of like, when you have a plan for your day and then the plan doesn't immediately go to plan, like you literally could make a plan and then within seconds it's falling apart. So we got up this morning, we're like, okay, let's go into town, get a few bits, maybe grab a nice coffee. And we walk out the front door and Kat's car is parked directly opposite us and the tire is just split open. It's just flat. And we're like, alrighty then, off to the tire. And then we had to go there, and he was like, oh, there's a bolt missing. I only take cash. And then the cash machine was broken, and then before we knew it, 2.5 hours had blown by of what we wanted to do. And then we were just like, we just get some nice food and head here. And then we did that. So I've treated myself today to a really good medium rare ribeye with really garlicky potato salad, greens. I feel very full. It's been a nice day. I've enjoyed the day in spite of the plans going all right. It's been good to unplug. But what about you guys? What have you been up to?
What have you been up to, Sam?
It's been a pretty quiet, relaxed day for me. Saturdays usually are. I usually try to not do anything, not work if I can help it. I mean, this week it strained it a little, because you're constantly checking in on sources, trying to hear back from people, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. There was actually a lovely thunderstorm that rolled through a couple of hours ago, and it just finished up like 3 minutes before I hopped on the call with you guys. It was really nice. I love gentle thunderstorms. So it's been just a good, relaxing day. I've been playing, just hopping between a couple of different games, made some homemade pizzas, got a really nice spicy pizza sauce that got a little cayenne in there.
Can you send me that recipe? Like,
I can actually. Yeah, just send a message and remind me, and I'll do that. Like,
how are you cooking them? Have you got like a little pizza oven? Or have you...
Just a regular oven, and they turn out 10 out of 10 every time.
Wow. Okay, I went to a garden party like earlier this summer, and this guy had a pizza oven, a Ninja pizza oven, right? Electric. Like, this isn't a stone baked pizza oven or anything. Holy shit! He was making up these pizzas, just like, you want another one? And I'm like, yes, I will. I will die eating pizza. And they were just great every time. So,
awesome.
And then I was like, how much was this pizza oven? He was like, 450 quid. I'm like, okay. I love pizza, but not enough to spend half £1,000 on a pizza oven. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same. At least in my current salary band.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm with you. What about you, Jesse? What have you been up to?
Slept in a bit after getting a little drunk last night, just for the hell of it, because I could. Outside of that, just playing things for review nonstop that are much longer than I thought they were.
Oh, yeah.
So trying to keep up.
I have said yes to too many things. Do you remember back in I think it was like February or March, I said yes to too much stuff, and I kind of I was like,
you do it in bursts, because I looked. Yeah. So I'll be after this month, I'll be at 32 reviews, and you'll be at 14. So it's not like you've had,
really?
But yeah, you just do them in big chunks, and then you go long periods without them.
Yeah, I'm picky. Like, so hey, do you want to review this game? I was like, look, shit, no. Like, don't you want to give it a bad score? Not really. I don't want to sit through it.
That is one of the main things going through is, like, unless it's a bigger release, it is hard to tell people that are generally not, that are just volunteers, like, hey, you're really not liking this. You must play all of it and review it, which is why scores, I think, on a lot of sites tend to be higher than they are if you reviewed almost everything, because the batter stuff, it's not making any money anyways, so the passion's just not there.
Yeah. But it's definitely been a thing this week for me. I've been playing a lot. I'm juggling a lot of games, but most of them are out next week. I've got 3 complete already, and I've got 1 more due next week, and then it's the runway to the rest of July. So, but hey, speaking of video games, I want to dive into what we've been playing, seeing as we're talking about stuff. And we'll start off with Jesse, because we all know what you've been playing this week, because you did the first review of it on the internet. But while you're talking about it, this sorry sod, who desperately tried to delay the start of the show, but Jesse had already pressed the button, has left his nicotine addiction, out there. So I'm going to let Jesse start talking about Doom, and I'm going to go and run and get my pipe, because otherwise I'll go mad if I have to sit here and not vape.
Wow.
Be right back.
You could have just had me start up and then go and not say anything.
Yeah, I know, but that felt rude, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that have felt rude if I was like, hey, Jesse,
get up and walk all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Thank God he's finally gone. Playing.
I'm trying to make a point.
Doom, The Dark Ages Revelations. My favorite Doom ever. Big enough and different enough to have been its own standalone release if they had wanted, which honestly might have gotten more people to play it. It is everything that I loved about Doom: The Dark Ages, Doom 2016, and Doom Eternal all in one. They brought back the movement that was in Eternal. You get your double dash back. You get the chain spear is like the thing. There's nothing quite like it. In almost anything, to the point where you can superpower the shield by the end, and the shield can technically do more damage at times, because the chain spear doesn't actually do damage. It is incredibly good at countering. So it can counter all the green attacks that are coming at you. It can stab and stun. Like, as you get all the unlocks for it, it goes from feeling interesting but underwhelming into just being insanely powerful, especially as your dashes will start to be able to parry green attacks and just absorb them completely, empowering the spear to do more cool shit. Everything you do in Doom ends up being tied to the spear as some form of counter. And they brought back some classic enemies like the Archvile, who's real annoying, and then the Warlock, who's even more annoying, believe it or not. But like in that good, ooh, I gotta get him way. The balance between melee, spear, and gun, I think, is the strongest they have. You can't just ever rely on one thing. You need to use all of it. But the gun side of it is not as I need to remember how every gun counters every enemy like in Eternal, which I think eventually, especially with the... Did you play the Ancient Gods Part 1 DLC before the nerf?
Yes, I did. I beat it before the nerf,
Me too.
and Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was over the top. This gets harder.
Okay.
But it ramps. Instead of the Ancient Gods Part 1, just from the off being insane.
Literally from the first fight.
Yeah. This is not easy at any point. Even on normal, as the spear is weak, I bumped it back down to normal, and I went up higher as I went through. If you try and do anything in Nightmare on like the Master Key stuff, it is way harder than Eternal was, but you have so many more options, and that's what I really like about this. 2016 is great, but 2016 is very much use the super shotgun, just kill everything. Just try and avoid being hit. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a power fantasy. It's a great time. It's a hell of a time, but I agree. Like, once you know what to do, that is the only way to do it, basically.
Yeah. And Eternal was very much just don't get hit.
Yep.
Okay,
Eternal,
now you gotta
remember what this specific gun attachment does to this specific demon.
Oh, you're using the micro rockets? Sorry, those are useless. You've got to now swap over to the sight so you can hit them in the weak points. Otherwise, they're not going to die.
Yep. Right.
This one is very much your tools are always there. You don't have to remember everything except for dash or parry green. You see a green attack, you dash or you parry it. Outside of that, it's what move do you want to use? Do you want to use the chain spear in its meat hook mode and go flying around, or have you unlocked the orbit? Because the orbit, you can't really be hit very easily, and you can just tear into whatever is attacking you. Are you going to use your giant slam to get a whole bunch of health back? Are you going to use your spear? Like all your power-ups. Those are the choices you have to make, which is a hell of a lot easier in the moment. Do you want to go to the shield? And do you want to start throwing the shield nonstop? Because you can make that throwing shield insanely strong. Like the choices are much more just what you want and more impactful than I think they've ever had in the series, in a way that, as we'll get into later, the people that were there made something amazing. And much like with Black Flag, some of a fair few of them have not gotten to enjoy this incredible launch. Like one of my favorite first person anythings ever, and it's just an expansion.
The pace of it just looks insane.
This is 100%.
Like, I'm just looking at the game.
You can go to like 120 or higher. Like it can go a lot faster than this if you want.
That's
yeah. I mean, and not to segue away, Jesse, if there's anything else you've been playing, but this is also what I've been playing mostly. I have been playing Dark Ages Revelations DLC. I have not finished it. I don't even think I'm at the halfway point. So there's a lot of upgrades and stuff that I still don't have, a lot of secrets I haven't found. But what I have played so far, I back you up 100%. It is magnificent so far, and I think it's pretty telling that despite Doom dividing people, there's a very large contingent of people that were split between Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like I would say 50-50, maybe 60-40, and then Dark Ages split it further. But I think I preferred Dark Ages to either of those, but I think I was in the distinct minority with that third group. And now literally everyone I know playing this says, yes, this is the best one ever. If this was a standalone game, this would be my favorite Doom game. This should have been an amazing victory lap for it. Is not to dwell on that side of things too much just now. I want to keep it light, but like magnificent work. I absolutely love it. I mean, even just the introduction, the way it's like, and Jesse knows what I'm talking about, the way the DLC starts off feels more like a brand new game altogether.
Yeah, you're starting going after the Hell Council, who with Tom Warren's reporting of them starting up a new Doom game, if it is continuing this, I would imagine it's going after the Hell Council, because they seem cool. Though they're still rather mysterious after beating the DLC. It is crazy that this much content, because I think a lot of people, if you want to 100% it, and even without touching the Ripitorium stuff that unlocks, but if you want to get through the base campaign and the end game, you're probably a good 15, maybe 20 hours if you want to get everything. Like it's
I think
huge.
I saw someone else say, someone I trust who has beaten it, say like if you want to 100% it, it might take as long, if not longer, than it takes to 100% like the base game for Dark Ages, which is just that's just insane. That's insane.
Especially because there's no other parts. It's only this gameplay. There's no mech. The dragon obviously is gone. It's just this, but it's a light Metroidvania where like the levels, you'll end up going through them again, and as you get the shield back, you then gain access to more things that you couldn't do before. So you can go and there's platinum and blood iron currencies and stuff to unlock all your shiz, and it is fantastic. Like it is just legitimately excellent in pretty much every way.
It's interesting that you know, Sam and someone else in the chat agrees with you, and I do too. Like, I've played Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal in particular, I bounced right off. I just did not.
It is a mouse and keyboard game.
It's demanding. It is a very physically demanding game in the way the other two aren't.
Dark Ages, I completed in like over the course of like 2 or 3 days. I was like, this is rock solid. And yeah, I agree that the dragon parts and the mech stuff, like it was trying to be a palate cleanser of sorts, but it was a bit like whatevs. You know, it was fun first time around, but after a little while it's like, okay.
Well, it's like people talking about the Batmobile.
Really loved the game.
They weren't very long.
No, exactly. They didn't outstay their welcome really. But yeah, like I prefer Doom the Dark Ages to both the original, the other two games in the trilogy. And like now hearing you guys wax lyrical about this, I have access to Revelations because I've got the premium edition, and I'm like, when in my schedule can I squeeze this in before it becomes December? And it's too late. It's probably going to be August. Yeah,
well, August. Yeah.
But I like it's got to go up there on my list
because late August through December is booked.
Yeah, August 27 is where like officially the insanity.
Well, and that's us just getting back from, or just about to get back from Gamescom if we go.
Yeah,
fun.
It's gonna be fun.
We'll be back on the 29th.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. If we go,
well, I mean, it's getting close. So close for you, but
it is. But it's, you know, you've booked your flight. You know, like we've just got to somehow find a way to.
Mine can be canceled.
Get the cash together.
It is allowed to be canceled.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
I know. I want that doner kebab again. I have to have it.
Yeah, I want the doner kebab again.
That's the guiding force. That
is the true reason we're going out there. It's funny as well. It just popped into my brain. And Dawn Raptor, when he listens to this, he knows this already. So, in case people weren't aware, like when we did Console Wars, the card game, Dawn Raptor, chucks a big watch to like chucks it in, and like we discussed like what he wanted, and he was like, oh, you know, like maybe just like a signed copy of the special edition, and because he's already been sent what he would have been sent as part of the backing, but like we boxed up some extra stuff for him, and I sent it off, and I sent this off last year, right? And I want everyone to bear that in mind. We are in the middle of 2026. I sent this off last year, probably around June. So we're talking a year ago. He lives in Australia. I live in the UK. Sent this off. And DPD lost it. And here's the worst thing. We didn't have any other copies of the Super Duper Fancy Edition. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I raise a case and DPD are like, we're going to find it, you know, don't worry. And I have given up hope. And like I was talking with our supplier when we did an extra run for DLC packs for UK Games Expo. I was like, oh, you know, I appreciate it's a different model box. Like how much would it cost to make another one of these up, or a couple? Like what's the minimum? And they're like, oh, we can't just do one. Like you'd have to do minimum like 150 or something stupid. And I'm just like, I can't afford that. And like I'm really panicking. Earlier this week, a package arrived from DVD. Shockingly, almost a year later, they found it and returned it to me. So I text to Raptor. I was like, so you might have thought, because like honestly, I didn't know how to tell him. Like I was trying to think of a solution. Like I was looking through the quality of like ones that had already been opened, but the cards were all used, and I was like, he was going to get the shrink wrap would have been off, but the cards would have remained shrink wrapped. So I'm like trying to find a way, and I'm so pleased, and it's unscathed. Like it's all there. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to try a different provider this time, and we're going to be doing like the highest tier of tracking and all of this shit. But it was just it amused me because like fuck, I was not expecting to ever see it again. So I don't know why that just popped into my head. But there you go, Torn. I'm sorry for the delay. It's on its way.
I really do hate the patrons.
I would like any remaining patrons to get their butts moved over to PlayDay.1 membership. Speaking of which, we are going to be going live with new ad providers. We're currently working through that switchover schedule. I'm hoping that it will result in zero shenanigans for any paying members of the site in terms of advertisements appearing and all of that stuff. But I will keep people in the loop as and when that stuff kicks off. But hopefully that leads to a better monetary situation for us going forward, which is great because the partner we've partnered with is one of the best, reportedly. So that's fun. But in terms of what I've been playing, I'm going to talk about a game, which is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which saw Ubisoft celebrating 2 million sales within a day of launch yesterday.
2 million sales and 2 million layoffs.
51 layoffs
I was
in
a little
Barcelona.
off.
It's still 51 too many, but
yes, like they just to be like I saw it getting reported in the way it got reported, like, hey, Ubisoft is celebrating the launch of Assassin's Creed Black Flag by firing people that had worked on it the day after it launches. These layoffs were known well in advance of this like coming out. Like I'm not defending
the people
Ubisoft,
were just like
the
people were like, hey, our work is done, literally. It's one of those the time, and it happens a lot. Like I've talked about before, where video games are kind of a gig economy job, but they're not. They're kind of like Hollywood, except not nearly as much. Where you work on a movie, all right, now you're finding another job on another movie or TV show or type of thing. Where video games still end up laying off and rehiring a bunch of people around certain parts of game cycles, but there are more people that just stick around. It's just been very rough this year. Holy shit.
But I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, I have not seen Ubisoft put out we've sold X million copies sold.
Very long time.
Eons.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a long time since I've seen that little metric.
Especially 2 million in a day.
Yeah, exactly. Like not just our first week or first month sales of X revenue. Like they wanted that one out there, which, I mean, look, it's rough all over. I'm glad they have a win, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what a win! Like, what a game! Like,
I've seen people say this game's ugly, and I'm like, what the fuck are you? What are you on? Do your eyes work?
Like, this is the thing. There's so much to it. And like, full disclosure to everyone, this was nearly a 9 from me. Mm-hmm. I did because obviously I had to play a huge amount of it. It's a big game in a short-ish space of time, and then try and touch all the new stuff and not spoil it, and then write everything. And I was like, I guess I'm trying to articulate this in the right way. I really love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It is my favorite Assassin's Creed game without a shadow of a doubt.
You haven't played
mostly
of them?
Because I've played all of them pretty much.
Not all of the games.
Yes.
You started them up and then you stopped.
Yeah, because they bored the shit out of me sometimes. It's life. But Assassin's Creed Black Flag is special, and I think the bit that makes it special is the piratey stuff. Either that, or I'm just a sucker for pirate things, which is also true. But like, I sat there and in my heart, it's a 9. But the objective critic in me was like, actually, there is a lot that you could objectively say is kind of sucky with it. So like, I went with my objective score rather than my heart. It's still a very positive review. I think it's the best Assassin's Creed game overall in terms of like what it does. I think no other one does is it gives you this sense of freedom in a way, and I think it's possibly because that's the theme of the game as well. I think it complements it in a different way because like the golden age of piracy was, you've got this character who is deeply flawed, Edward Kenway. Fun story. I recorded and narrated the review, and I'd called him Kenway all the way through. And then the last paragraph, I'd written Conway. I don't know why. And then I was listening to the audio recording. I was like, did I say Conway? So like I've been calling him that all week, which is why that's slip of the tongue there. But like he's a douchebag. Like he's an asshole. He's a lovable rogue, but he's like in it for himself. He doesn't care about any of this Assassin's nonsense. And for me, when I was playing the original Black Flag in 2013, I also did not care about any of the Assassin's Creed nonsense. Any time that the game was like, you're stuck on land for the next 2 hours, I'm like, fuck, get me back on my pirate ship. And I would play through that assassin stuff as quickly as possible. I don't care. Get me back out on the jackdaw. I didn't play it that way this time, but it can be played that way because they've removed a lot of the barriers of stuff that really irks last time. Those tailing missions that if you got interrupted, you would be whipped right back to the start, gone. And in fact, I think pretty much every stealth mission I was given, like when you first played Assassin's Creed and they gave you that kind of hitman, here's the target, and you might spend some time like figuring out a way there to not get spotted and assassinate them without getting seen and then boom, escape. None of that happened for me when I played Assassin's Creed Black Flag over the last couple of weeks. It was, if there was a tailing mission, I'd be like, sup, chop everyone down because the game just let you do it. So I played it the way I wanted to play it. I can still acknowledge like they've done a lot to modernize it and make it slick and fun, and kicking people off of towers was like the kick button is a genius thing because anytime anyone was near an edge, I was just like, it just always made me laugh. But the stealth can be boiled down to like hide in a bush, whistle, rinse, repeat, and so on. Eventually you'll get caught and you'll get into a fight, but like the AI is dumb. But that sense of freedom and exploration is just so great, and it looks so good, and the sea shanties are so great, and the sound's so great, and the world with all the weather and the atmosphere and the naval battles, it all just combines into something that is just super, super addictive. Even if it is on occasion a bit repetitive, it's great, so you don't mind. And I'm very glad that I got to play it again. I'm glad I didn't replay the old one like I wanted to earlier this year. I'm glad that they confirmed that this was real. I saw in their review like we played the old one, we think the old one's better, didn't they?
Yeah, I tried the old one. It's not better for me.
The only thing, and I have not played it, I have not played the remake. I've played the original, obviously. The only critique from an outsider position that I can bring in is really wish they had included the Freedom Cry DLC with Delaware going in Haiti and freeing the slaves on the sugar plantation. Great cool. DLC. Really wish that hadn't been cut. Maybe they'll add that in the future as a
big microtransaction.
Yeah, like they could do it, but like that's like my one thing. But otherwise, like everything I've seen from your review and others looks really good. Also, a fun fact: you mentioned, John, how good it looks. Ubisoft's devs did an interview where they mentioned that the approach to the visuals, where I believe it has ray tracing on every single platform in Series S, there's an RTGI all throughout. That approach was actually inspired by how id Software worked on Doom: The Dark Ages. They looked at what they were doing and said, "We can do it too." So I just love stuff like that.
With how you feel about this one, I think if you ever got more into the story of Odyssey and the power fantasy of it, Odyssey is the most Black Flag-like because it's
is
lot
Odyssey the
about
Greek one or the
Odyssey is the Greek one.
Odyssey is Greek.
Play as Cassandra. Do not play as Alexios. She's amazing. Cassandra. Yeah, Alexios is fine. Cassandra's great. The character and the voice actress, but it is also the most sailing one.
Also, be prepared for a ridiculously big game. Like it is, even before the DLCs. That's the thing. It is stupidly large.
But if you go for everything, which you're not the type to, if you golden path it, you can still do not that much longer than Black Flag.
I am the type with Black Flag, and it's bummed me out. Like I got the campaign done, and I touched on everything I needed to touch on in order to write and make the video. And it's funny, I recorded something like 850 gigs worth of that ultra wide footage, as well as obviously Jesse, kindly sent over some footage across Xbox Series X, PS5 Pro. I plugged in the Xbox Ally X, which is a miracle in terms of how that runs. Like the first time I booted that up, because obviously Shadows ran okay on the handheld, and I was like, "How's this going to run?" And I was so disappointed at first because I had everything set to low, but then if you go past low, like that way to lower than low, it suddenly gives you handheld mode high, handheld mode medium, handheld mode low, and handheld mode I can't even speak now. Handheld mode high was like 40-ish FPS in heavy towns, 60 on the open waves, and I'm like, well, this is marvelous. Look at some of the sea battles that, like, I was just on an island exploring, and that was going on in the background. It's absolutely nuts. God, it's a great game. Anyway, so I've been playing that a lot.
The Shadows
really
version of the engine is one of the best out there.
Very impressive. Yeah, very impressive. Good work, Ubisoft. I just make a new game that is not Assassin's Creed, that takes all of the piratey stuff from this. Go. See you in 5 years. Go make that.
I was joking with a friend before the 2 million sales update came out that they're probably just going to make Black Flag 2 because of how well this one does. And now I'm not even half joking. They won't literally make Black Flag 2, but they're going to make something pretty darn close.
In their very long roadmap, they'll probably end up somewhere there because I think Hexe, the German witch one, is supposedly next, but nothing's close.
Yeah, nothing is. I think that was supposedly next year and then got delayed or something.
Ghost Recon and Far Cry are struggling mightily in their developments.
Is there anything over there that isn't struggling? I'm not trying to be
Splinter Cell. We don't know if it exists anymore.
I'll take it. You know what? For now, I'll take it.
Yeah, we don't know if it exists, but we haven't heard it's struggling. So let's go with that.
In the case of Ubisoft right now, no news might be good news. yeah.
Let's roll with that. It's weird though. Like, we talk about what we've been playing this week. I haven't played Assassin's Creed this week. Like, this week has primarily been on some other games, which I can't really talk about until next week.
That was my other game, which is Ascend to Zero, which is coming to Game Pass on Monday, which I played 3 weeks ago, but can finally talk about now because the embargo was on Friday. So I'm going to watch some footage to remember exactly what I played. You can go read the review.
I heard it was it's got a time element in it.
So it is a Survivors-like, where you've got floating weapons around you doing shit. The main thing about it is that whenever you start a level, time is frozen, and you are choosing when you want to unfreeze it and attack and refreeze it, because you start having 30 seconds to get through a run. And with no way to get any extra time or to get it back. Obviously, being a Survivor's roguelite, you start getting way more time. I've got almost 200 seconds up there sometimes, and you have these super insane overpowered builds, and it's got this cute little trove look in the game and like K-pop animation stuff in the cutscenes or the dialogue stuff, and it's really fun. Really good music, looks nice. Will be on Game Pass as a Play Anywhere title on Monday. But yeah, it is if you are into that Survivors genre, this is one of the better ones that I've found. Its unique little twist on it is a smart one. There's a lot of carrots you are chasing constantly. Like you're starting off in this first area, rescuing all your crew who sent you back in time to try and stop the robopocalypse. And being a good Survivor's like, I had to beat it a bunch to see the full ending. It's good. Easy recommendation. Runs incredibly well on everything, which a game like this should.
I want to give a shout out as well. One of the things I love about this team and the way that we try and cover everything, even though there's only like 5 people that work on it in any sense of like full-time-ish, like 3 full-timers, everyone else is as and when they can. And I appreciate that getting a game reviewed and stuff is a big objective for a lot of developers out there, but I appreciate it even more when they come back in and watch what we've done, watch our work after we've played theirs, and then share what they thought of our work. And the developers for this actually commented on your YouTube video, and they said, "Huge thanks for making such a thoughtful review and sharing this gameplay. We loved watching you master the time stop mechanics and clear the screen in style. Your support really means a lot to us, and we're so grateful for this amazing video. Catch the game on July 13th on Steam and Xbox."
It is an Xbox.
Thank you for commenting and for watching. Do you know what I mean? Like, it means a lot to us when our work gets appreciated, and I'm sure it means a lot to developers when their work gets appreciated. So thanks for tuning in and watching the video, Flyway Games. You guys rock. Congrats. Good luck for launch. Yeah, there's lots more to look forward to. More games are coming out every month.
Nonstop.
It is absolutely mad.
Just this month's Game Pass, if we were trying to cover it alone, would be like 13 or 14 things.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, I've got people like my friendship group are annoyed that we didn't get a chance to play much of RV there yet, which is on Game Pass, which does look funny, and I do want to play it. But it's just like, you know, I got review code for a game. I'm not going to say what it is. I got review code from a game towards the end of this week that was not on my list. I was not going to be doing this, and I've said yes. And I, you know, hey devs, how long's the game? And they're like, a significant. I'm trying to be very vague. A significant number of hours.
You haven't
said
like, the game, so it's 40 hours.
Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way.
Like,
there's no way that I'm going to do like whenever we get a developer say to us, this game is 40 hours long, Jesse and I usually half it. Like, okay, so 20 hours. So like maybe, but I'm going to do my damnedest, and worst case scenario, it will probably be a review in progress of some sort.
It's not one of these, like, for anyone wondering. I'm just like, if we were to cover all the day ones, like I've already done Quarantine Zone, so that's a port. It's already on PC where I did it, but Buckshot Roulette came over, big game. It's only $3, but Ascend to Zero I'm doing Dench Attack. I don't think we have anything on Fog Piercer, but like if we were going to cover all of these day one, we're not doing Halo. Who cares about that? If we were going to do all these on day one, it would be like 8 or 9 just from Game Pass, which is nuts.
Do you know what's really funny? All 4 of my reviews are not on that list.
Yeah, you don't have a Game Pass one. I had a couple Game Pass.
So yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. Like I feel guilty when we can't look at something, especially when a developer is like, "Can you? Do you have time?" And it's like, I always feel guilty saying no. So I don't know. Does anyone else have this problem? Do you ever feel guilty? Like, I don't have time.
It just you don't have enough hours in the day. It's like it sucks, but it is what it is.
I don't feel guilty because I just do them.
yeah. Well, you're not built like the rest of us.
Well, I had to friggin' oh, sorry, England's down 1-0 now. I just had to
couldn't give a shit.
I had to fix so many PR company relationships thanks to one asshole that like it became default for me.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. Like I sit there and I saw an email from GDC, funnily enough, like saying they're accepting pitches for talks. You know, you can host a talk if you've got an idea. And I want to host a talk titled "No One Cares About Your Game," but maybe someone does actually. Like something jokey, but it's almost like for all the developers and the number of emails we get. And Sam, I don't know what your mailbox is like day to day, week to week, right? But like I can finish a day with 100 emails easily.
I can finish a day with 100 demo emails. I have a demo on Steam.
During a Steam Next Fest, it's carnage. But like when you see that and you think every single one of these devs wants their game to be seen, wants someone to cover their game, and like the reality of especially legacy games media is if you go and look, they're not writing about them. None of them are, because the reality is the big audience doesn't care, so they're not going to click it. They're busy writing something that will make people click on their website. And it's like, that's a big problem for discoverability for indies, which is why, like, when I hear that Lucy James is starting up, like, looking for game and all of that stuff, like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The idealism of that, in that there are so many incredible indie games. Like, a couple of the reviews that I'm dropping next week are for things that came out of nowhere for me and have surprised the heck out of me.
Right.
And it's like, how do we get past that? How do we grow beyond that? And, like, I don't know about you, but there's sometimes when you look at a game or you look at an email and you just think, what planet? Like, I mean this in the nicest way, but like this is not going to, no one's going to want to play this.
That realization of, if I was to choose to cover this, which 99 times out of 100 I can't, not that I don't want to, I can't. 99 times out of 100, I would be the only person I know covering this. And it's a problem, and I don't know how you solve that problem. That's a whole podcast topic in and of itself. But
yeah, it's just an interesting conundrum, I think. But yeah, anyway, suffice to say, everybody listening, be it live right now, or if you're listening on a podcast service of your choice at home,
hopefully Spotify, they pay
leave a
well.
review. There's a lot of work. We're doing a lot of work. We're working on a lot of stuff. So yeah, Sam, I do know you have another game on your list before we move on to news topics and things like that. What else? What's the last thing you've been playing this week?
Last thing I've been playing is one that I really enjoyed toward the start of the year, to the point that it barely made the cutoff in my here's my favorite games of the year so far, was Age of Mythology's Aztec expansion. But I've been playing a lot of Age of Mythology again recently, because one of my brothers and a couple of their friends have picked up the game for the first time and have been like, hey, this is great, just want to play this. Like, I remember playing this when I was a kid. So I've been playing some multiplayer matches with them, doing some verses against AI, against each other. It's just a good time, man. I love Age of Mythology. For as many things as you can, and we have, and we will rightfully criticize Xbox and Microsoft for, I think World's Edge and the way they've run Age of Empires and the way they've revitalized that whole brand, good. Age of Mythology and Age of Empires, I'm lumping them together, is just stellar work. They've done an absolutely amazing job. They're a tight-knit team. They have done a great job, balancing out, bringing new things into the mix, but also revitalizing and preserving the older content and the way they work with older teams. It's so good. Like Age of Empires 2, if you played Age of Empires 2 back in the day, and like with the Conqueror's expansion, all that, and you have not seen how big Age of Empires 2 is now, I'm telling you,
it's nuts.
Go to the Xbox store or to the Steam store and take a look at how much DLC there is and how big it is. Like, there are dozens plural of campaigns that you can play through there. It's like closing in on 100 factions. Something closing in. I don't think it's quite there yet. At last check, I've genuinely lost count. I used to be able to remember them all, and now I can't. It got so big last year that they actually just bundled in 3 expansions into the base game for free, because they were like, it's overloading the store pages for people.
Wow.
It's genuinely too big. We're just going to give it to you for free. So yeah, having a good time diving into both of those again with some friends. It's just good strategy time. Good strategy time.
Nice. Oh, see, we like, despite the horrificness of this week, games themselves are awesome. And I'm so happy that I've got to play so much already this year. It's been one of the best years for me so far in terms of video game joy in recent memory, which is just wonderful. So that's a lot of stuff we've just covered off there. We're going to dive into the news topic in a moment. But before that, just a friendly reminder that we're an independent team and we'd love you to come and join us. Back after this.
Welcome to DayOne.
From PC to PlayStation, Switch to Xbox.
We're all about one thing: video games.
With a gorgeous new website,
best-in-class community forums, and a kick-ass Discord server,
our sole focus is on bringing you the latest in news, reviews, and features.
From the biggest games to amazing indie titles, we try to do it all so you can focus on what you're going to play day one.
Beyond our regular live streams, we've got the DayOne show, listened to in over 60 countries across the planet,
and our twice-weekly news-focused broadcast Headlines, keeping you up to date and in the know on all things gaming.
If you love video games, you're in the right place.
Help us stand toe-to-toe with the biggest sites out there and consider supporting us directly.
Just head to playday.one/memberships
and enjoy things like exclusive videos and game giveaways every week.
Thank you for your support.
All right, we're back. Now, we're going to dive into the news, but we're going to do things in a slightly different way. We're going to recap things for you in case you skipped headlines, and it's been a week. So we've had 3 episodes of headlines, one of which Sam joined us for earlier this week. This is the week of the big Xbox reset. We have seen, and I'm gonna I don't want to wax lyrical about everything because there is so much. But in case you've been living under a rock and you've not been paying attention to the headlines, Microsoft kicked off their reset with an announcement of 3,200 layoffs. 1,600 of them are happening now, with a further 1,600 to be spread from now until the end of June 30th, 2027. So that's a year from now, more or less. And the divestiture of 4 studios, 2 Double Fine and Compulsion Games have gone independent. And then we've got Ninja Theory and Undead Labs with new owners who have not yet been disclosed. All of those teams have some runway. They have the funding to carry them so far, particularly with Compulsion and Double Fine, as they go off and become independent again and search for new financing. The new owners are going to take care of the new Ninja Theory and Undead Labs. The 5th studio on this list is Arcane Leon, working on Blade with Marvel, and was meant to be coming out. Is it still? Do we know what exactly is happening there? Not really, because French labour laws dictate that they have to go through a consultation process with the French Workers' Council. So we'll see what happens there. More news on that to come. That is high level what's happened thus far. Asha Sharma, Asha Sharma has dropped the internal memo talking about what's happening and why, admitting that the business isn't healthy. I think there's phrasing in there about losing 64 cents for every dollar they've invested, or effectively.
Fuzzy corpo
there's a ton
man.
of stuff. Yes. I guess beyond that, we've obviously seen then the layoffs hit various studios, and some of the news stories we've covered this week have seen layoffs across Xbox. Tons of talented, long-standing people that have been with Xbox for years, in some cases decades, have been let go. We've seen in particular a lot of focus on id Software, which was, for want of a better phrase to use, and I'm going to use it, gutted in Dallas, with 50%-ish of the team let go, and a few layoffs in the Frankfurt team, which is relatively small in comparison, which is like their tech team, for want of a better phrase. What else have we had to endure this week? Feel free to be honest.
25% of Obsidian, so 70 people. There were just over 280 at Obsidian, so 70 people at Obsidian are out, and about 50 across Bethesda Game Studios. Bethesda Game Studios has grown significantly since they were acquired. They were well over 500 people last time I checked, and that was early last year, so probably even bigger now. So they're still huge, but still it's 50 people, and a lot of those people were there for a very long time.
ZOS and
ZOS was also gutted.
ZeniMax
ZOS
Online Studios for people that
sorry. ZOS was also basically cut in half, and important context there is ZOS already lost 200 people last year when their new IP, Project Blackbird, was canceled. So ZOS is now, with no offense absolutely at all intended to the rest of the team, like ZOS is a shell of what it used to be. At this point, ZOS is well under half of what it was this time 2 years ago.
Project Blackbird looked cool as well.
Tied at 1.
Honestly, I appreciate
it's for the chat. I couldn't give 2 shits about you. I know you don't like sports.
I don't care about football. But also, there might be people listening to this who, everyone's going to be watching football.
It's live as we're live, so.
Yeah, it's probably quieter for our UK.
Holland is my contribution.
What?
The Viking who's playing for Norway and just beating everyone up. He's great. That's my only contribution.
He
wants to be sponsored by
really
Xbox.
Like him,
yeah. So this is all in service of, and I've seen some questions in the chat, like, is Wolfenstein going to be okay? So part of this is Bethesda refocusing at Microsoft's behest on, and this is Microsoft's mantra in general, is the admission that they've learned that owning every studio isn't the best idea. And I'm going to pretty much paraphrase what she wrote rather than look it up verbatim. But effectively, they're saying that in a landscape where the quality, and we've been making this point on this show for like years now, the quality bar for games has risen so high compared to what it used to be a decade ago. And if you're a first party team, typically a first party release on console was like the biggest of the big. This was the defining, or one of the defining reasons to buy into the platform in the first place. That used to be the old way of doing things. And Microsoft have turned around and said, actually, it's not actually great for us to own studios of this size, because they're already competing not just with the big games, but they're competing with all of these other AA, developers, indie games, etc. And we're probably better empowering indie developers in general than owning them. So it's an admission of that big campaign to build that leading first-party studios organization is a bit of a miss. And there's been discussion about hands-off management approach from Microsoft with what they call limited integration companies, so that these companies maintain their culture and don't become a part of corporate Microsoft. And it amuses me a little bit that if we rewind 15 years, Microsoft were, criticized heavily for embracing studios and then making them to Microsoft, and then, those studios losing their culture. So they went way back to the other extreme, and now they've been criticized for limited integration and not really folding them in the right way, ergo mismanaging them once again. There's hopefully a way to find a middle ground here.
I think a balance between the two can exist.
Yeah, and again, we want to make it very clear as we get into some of the discussion here today that the layoffs in general across the board are abhorrent. No one on this panel thinks they're great. No one supports them.
Nick's not here.
This sucks. That's it. Full stop. This just blows. But we do have to take zoom out and look at the big picture. And there are some elements of what Microsoft as an entity are kind of suggesting here, in that maybe we do need to focus on the big franchises. And this is going to be part of how we're going to try and do this discussion this evening. Rather than sit here and go through every news story and talk about everything, we want to try and zoom out and ask the big questions. Like, are they able to actually recover? And when I say that, I know that there are going to be some Xbox fans being like, oh, I'm having a great time. Microsoft isn't. Microsoft is losing money and the business isn't healthy, right? So they are doing all of this in an effort to turn this around and change the fortunes of the big brand Xbox. The question is can they do it? And the biggest thing that I've been thinking about this week as I look at all of the kind of turmoil and what's happened and all of the layoffs and all of that, is I still am not quite sure what the actual plan is. And I'm curious on your thoughts on this, guys. And chat, if you have questions, chuck them in. But they've said, okay, maybe it is kind of silly that we've had this top 2 TV show Fallout and there hasn't been a new Fallout game. That does feel kind of silly,
A little weird.
What are we doing there? It is kind of weird that Elder Scrolls, the last mainline game, was when did it come out? 10?
It will be 15 years ago in November.
Right? That's why are we doing that?
A little weird.
Right? Again, so zoom out, big picture. Yeah, okay. I hear you. I would like a new Fallout. And, we've heard reporting this week that Obsidian, who suffered layoffs, have been like, hey, and this is where it gets interesting. Avowed scrapped. Cancel Avowed 2. You're not doing that now, Obsidian. Go work on a new Fallout. And Obsidian, reportedly, are like, yeah, but we're going to carry on working on Avowed 2 in the hopes that you might say yes. This is per report from Jason Schreier, and I'm paraphrasing and being somewhat jocular about it. But Obsidian, Josh Sawyer leading it, is working on a Fallout game, reportedly. This makes sense from a big picture perspective. You own Fallout. You own a team that made New Vegas. Get them to work on that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I kind of said this on headlines earlier this week, but I will reiterate it here. I will rehash that. This is the one thing I would, layoffs aside, as we established, layoffs aside, this is the one thing out of this week that I think we can all agree, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's
Why
an
are you not
interesting
doing
one
that?
because supposedly what he was working on was wanting to be a Fallout game, but Bethesda wanted a bigger scope on the next Fallout thing, and so it ended up becoming a Fallout-like, which many people would then go, "What the fuck? But you own Fallout. Just why not have it be that IP?" But that definitely seems to be a difference now, where it's no, we need Fallout games. We don't need Fallout likes again. And it's funny because I saw like people that were like, "Oh, this is the type of desperation move you make," and I'm like, I don't like the actual. Then the story comes out, and it's like I think a lot of my problems with the coverage around this is there are so many legitimate things to be angry about, and so many legitimate problems to discuss and try to understand that you don't need to keep making bullshit up to win the outrage contest. Like it's just
Even I'm not going to name names, but I've seen people saying like Obsidian being press ganged into this. Guys, I think Josh Sawyer wanted to make a damn Fallout game. No offense. I really get the idea.
Todd got pressed into. No, this is a Fallout game now.
If anyone in this situation is being press ganged, it is Todd having his ear bent and being told, "Hey, when are you scheduled to get to Fallout 5? Oh, it'll be out in 2035, optimistically. No, you're going to allow Obsidian to do this. This is not a discussion.
It's obviously not going to be the main, but like having
and
spin-offs and remakes and stuff all over the place is what they'll do.
Not going to be. This is not going to be Fallout 5. They'll call it something else, but it will be a new Fallout game. And Jason Schreier did confirm as well that Bethesda Game Studios is going to be overseeing the project still. Like they're still going to have input, obviously, but it's not a. We've moved out of Todd. You do not get to just deny a team doing this, and I don't know. I think that's healthy. I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm personally quite okay with that.
It's one of the things where you see, okay, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Okay, yeah, they're going to. There's been rumors about the Fallout 3 and New Vegas remake or graphical remakes. They will be gameplay remasters with touch-ups because making one of those Creation Engine or Gamebryo or whatever games is like making a new one because it's all simulated and it's not canned. So if you're trying to make another Fallout 3 remake, it's the same amount of work as like making Fallout 6. Like they're just going to have the old gameplay touched up again, like Oblivion, which I think people will be happy with as long as it runs better this time, which thankfully Unreal Engine 5 is in a better spot. So it should.
I'm also just crossing my fingers that Oblivion gets a performance patch improvement and some stuff because it is coming to Switch too. So like you would hope that the optimizations there get applied across all platforms because I love that game, but there's no excuse for it to run the way
it's going to come out and run like shit, and in 2 weeks it's going to be patched up and run well.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think that kind of explains the Fallout side of things, right? Like at least when you're talking about billion-dollar franchises, big pillar IP, blah blah blah. Like, okay, Fallout is kind of squared away at this point. There's a plan for Fallout to move forward, so that Bethesda Game Studios, like, we're not waiting on them until 2035, 2036 for Fallout 5. Unless there's something else you wanted to say about that, John.
It's a sound strategy, like in that respect. And I just wanted to call out some stuff in the chat. Like Cal tells in the chat says, "Hey, I don't agree about this because I don't like New Vegas." And the only thing I would say to that is like Josh Sawyer is, he's an industry legend for a reason. The guy's a great game director and he's made some incredible stuff. And I know you might not have liked New Vegas, and all I would say to that is it was made in 18 months.
Yeah, and it was a much smaller scope that Todd liked, and then it's like, no, it should be its own bigger thing. You don't really get that much more time or budget, though.
Yeah. So, like, I think, a team given, and that's again, it comes to the other question, like, and it's the reality of games development is games are harder to make.
Yep.
People don't compare these things to movies, right? Well, movies can be made in 6 months.
Obsidian's not a tech company. They're not a tech developer. Like they needed a lot of help, and even then, people look at the Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, and it's like they're not pretty enough. They don't animate well enough. Like people still go at it for that, and if they are going to be doing these types of things, I think a part of the plan is there are fewer overall games because we're also not pushing Game Pass for everything and just have the big ones pay for the little ones anymore. It's like, no, we're going to have you be a little bigger, which is why those other studios were the types that were divested away from, because they weren't big. Like, and you need so many people to make these AAA games now that it is just ridiculous. And the AA market had been heavily propped up by Xbox and Game Pass, as we saw with all the publishing deals that are gone. Like, all those publishing deals were various levels of A to AA. And that side of the industry has just been destroyed by free to play and a whole bunch of other things, just taking everyone's time and money.
Yeah, as someone who's been chasing a publishing deal for 18 months, it's really hard out there. Like, I empathize for all the indie developers out there. It's brutal to try and get funding.
Yeah. As much as I did believe and did love the vision that Phil had of just like let these smaller art houses slowly grow and thrive, like that is the vision that I appreciate about Xbox, and I am going to miss a lot of that. Yep. I think, unfortunately, hey, we no longer make AA games is what you can expect from Xbox's strategy moving forward. And I think, unfortunately, that makes sense for what they're trying to do. I do think the weird one there, or the weird ones, let's say this, the weird ones there are definitely Undead with State of Decay 3. I think that one's a little weird to
considering how highly it's anticipated and wishlisted on Steam.
I think Jez said yesterday that they're still publishing. I think he said, somebody wrote that he said this. I might be wrong. I didn't watch that they were still publishing.
Asterisk.
Yeah, somebody has said they're still publishing, so they still might be in Game Pass. So it's even weirder.
Weird because there's definitely been contrary reporting on that front from Steven. Okay, we'll put an asterisk mark next to that.
Everything has been in every direction, so it's always incredibly difficult to know what is going on.
I was going to say the other one that irritates me personally, and I think definitely is like, this wasn't really AA, is like Arcane with Blade. I think they're so close.
It's a Marvel game.
It's a Marvel game, and I know what people are going to say, the license fees, like, I get that, I understand. I still say you let Arcane cook with a Marvel game, that makes sense as a platform exclusive, as an Xbox console exclusive, as something to say, hey, look at what we've got. You can position,
this is our Spider-Man.
You can position that in a way like Clockwork Revolution. Because I'll tell you right now, Clockwork Revolution has been in development for even longer than Blade has. It has cost even more than Blade has. That game is not making more money than Blade would. Like, I guarantee you that 100%. So I see that one as a miss as well. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe they can work out a situation where
when you look at Arcane's history, and it's the same thing with Tango. Like, they've had too many amazing games that didn't sell. They had, like, Dishonored hit real hard. Then Dishonored 2 was better and didn't hit nearly as hard. Kind of like the Evil Within 2. I like 2 a lot better. 2 sold like absolute shit compared to 1.
And that, which is a travesty because I have a soft spot for the first Evil Within. That is a rough, janky
super
game.
janky.
It's but Evil Within 2, on the other hand, is one of my favorite survival horror games of all time. So like, I get it. I agree with you.
But it's seeing the shitty business side, which we as people who enjoy playing these things don't care about and should not. Like, I just want to play their games.
Yeah, and like I said, and the stuff with Arcane isn't final, so I'm not going to go on and on about that. We'll see what actually happens at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah. I want to call out some other stuff in the chat here. The Black John's asking about Obsidian. So they were supposed to stop working on Outer Worlds and Avowed. Yes, the Avowed 2. Reportedly, they were working on some projects. They've been all cancelled. Was Jason Schreier's original report, and Obsidian have been asked to move on to a Fallout game. However, he also then reported that they still have a small team while they're waiting for this stuff to spin up, because this is not instantaneous. So in 18 months, they're not going to be doing that. They're going to be working as quick as they can, but they're still apparently, reportedly, allegedly, got a small team that were working on Avowed 2, which Jason Schreier said was further along than you would think. The original came out only last year. It's further along than you'd think for a sequel. And they're hoping that maybe they can get far enough along with Microsoft, like, okay, we can still release that. No worries.
Especially if the only way it's farther along than you'd think, even for Obsidian, who have been so efficient over there. They're one of the only ones who have just been extremely efficient, well organized. Which is another part that kills me about the layouts. But
Man,
I'm suppressing.
It does piss me off. Last year, the year of Obsidian, all the marketing people, the year of Obsidian, guys, we got 3 games, and then you hear afterwards that was fucking horrific. We never want to do that again. And now they're being punished.
They're being punished for something that wasn't their fault.
That's the shit that like
it
makes
happened
my
because
shit itch.
of like delays and missing stuff. It wasn't meant to be 3 games.
No, I know.
It's funny. We got away from Marvel real quick when I just had this delivered. It was on sale, so I was like, you know what?
Oh, nice.
Why not? That's why I walked away.
Nice.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so Obsidian. So the thing about that is, right now, as it stands at Obsidian, Avowed 2 has been canceled, but like John said, there's still a small team working on it, and it sounds like it's a fairly iterative sequel using a lot of assets and stuff from the first game. So maybe hold out hope. Maybe Avowed 2 can still happen someday. We'll see. I would not hold out hope for the Outer Worlds 3. I think that is very clearly not going to happen.
The expansions looking at it.
The expansions are still in development. There are still going to be 2-story expansions. So if you like the Outer Worlds 2, like I did, you're still going to get that. And then Grounded 2 is a big hit. So
it's ongoing.
That's going to be ongoing. They're still going to get to work on that. But the Fallout is going to be the big focus for Obsidian moving forward. That's where things stand. But maybe hold out hope for Avowed.
The thing with this, though, like we kind
minutes.
of just talked through this, and this hits only approach, and this is the thing that I'm rewinding the clock here.
I wouldn't even call it hits. I would call it safer bets.
Regardless, safer bets, killer IP, tomato.
Yep.
Yeah, rewind back to the 360 era, and that was the original. We're going back to Gears, Halo, Forza here. Yes, I know that the situation is somewhat different now in that they have bought some of the biggest and most valuable IP. Bethesda's one of Bethesda leads dropped an email out effectively saying, like, Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. That is what we're focusing on now as Bethesda, as ZeniMax, right? Yeah. But like the risk here from a Microsoft perspective is that, like things like Minecraft, for example, another acquisition that Microsoft made and has done well with Mojang, right? It's a good example.
It is
of a
way
great
bigger than it
acquisition.
was before they were bought.
Sure, but it required 2 people to have a crazy idea and try and pursue it in order for it to become as big as it was. And by removing that kind of like game jam, fucking let's try something new passion out of your teams and just focusing on these big IPs, there is a risk there of missing the boat on, that's why when it's sad when I originally heard that Avowed 2 had been cancelled, because Avowed, I normally bounce off Bethesda style RPGs. All right. It's not a criticism about the type of games that they are. I just get confronted with these big open worlds and I get bored. I'm a more linear, I'm a more smaller experience kind of guy. I like my really small indie quirky games, as many people will see from my reviews. There are rare exceptions, but that's often the case. Avowed was that more streamlined RPG experience. It was a very Bethesda light kind of game. And I actually saw that through to the end. And you sit there and you think, that was great, and you think of all these things that they could improve. And there is a tendency, or there was a tendency back in the old days with 360 era Microsoft, was if it didn't land as a new IP that first time, if it wasn't a smash hit, fuck it, it's gone, next. And that's often a mistake, I think, because you learn so much when you have a stab at the first time round, and then the second time round is, you look at Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2.
I was literally about to say that. Assassin's Creed is the uber example of it hit on the second try. The first one's okay.
Yes.
The first one sold okay. I'm not trying to downplay it. Like, it was a success, but Assassin's Creed 2 is where the rubber met the road in a good way.
Exactly.
They just took off.
So there is that part of me that's like, like, is this a spreadsheet game? And the answer is probably very much a lot of it. Yes. Yeah. I want to call out some other stuff in the chat. Like this evening's show, by the way, guys, again, we're not going through news item by news item. We're asking questions. We're having conversations. So I do want to hear from the chat, and I will be obviously prioritizing super chats. But there's a chap in the chat, Gizmo Gladstone. I won't reveal their actual identity, but I would advise everyone. This person's from the old guard. This is someone from back in the day, in the Wild West. We're talking in the era of booth babes and things of that nature. This is someone who's been around the block. Sorry, Gizmo, I'm giving away your age here. But this is his take on what's going on. He writes, "Hey guys, my layoff take. A lot of this isn't well considered. A number of folks were literally a short-term line item removal. A game that isn't coming out this year. Let's remove a bunch of the high-ticket team members that we might not need for 6 months, and then you'll have this sword of Damocles hanging over the survivors. Everyone starts dusting off their resume or give up on the game biz and walk, or just cling on until they get severance. I've seen companies pull this move, hoping to scare people to leave." Now, and people, what he finishes off here, people wonder what the future of Starfield. Well, at Bethesda's current pace, we should expect Starfield 2 until 2040 at the earliest. So why even mention it anyways?
And
like,
yeah.
I wanted to touch on.
Ever going to do a sequel?
I even know I addressing this in reverse, sort of like even before. I think Starfield was a one-off. Like Todd Howard even openly said, like when he was pitching it to Robert Altman, rest in peace, the former CEO of ZeniMax Media before he passed away, like he kind of knew this was a one-off stab. It was his like one chance to do a space game and get away from the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like I don't think Starfield 2 was ever.
Yeah, the game is literally made to just be played in a loop forever.
I think the best chance, and I think there is still a good chance of this, is that more DLC and updates happen. I think there is still a good chance Terran Armada was very well received.
They got the DLC Starborn is the other one that was
trademarked.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens there. So I think more Starfield DLC and updates, yes. Starfield 2, forget about it. Sorry, John, continue.
No, it's quite all right. Like this is conversational. You know, this isn't a you talk, I talk panel. This is, you know, feel free to butt in. But like the one
Nick
thing I want
is
to
the one
focus
who
in
gets
on
really mad if he's interrupted.
Yeah, and Jesse interrupts me all the time. I just, I brush it off. It's fine. But the thing I wanted to focus on that Gizmo wrote here was the approach of short-term line item removals for teams that didn't have something coming out this year. 100%. 100% that is the way Microsoft approach it. And the reality is for id, as a case in point here, they have nothing greenlit right now. Like we hear from tomorrow, and okay, well, they're going to be working on the next Doom, whatever that might be.
Which I think is a mistake, but we'll come back to that.
Quake, please, guys, go and do something with Quake.
Quake,
right?
like all the cosmic. Now you've done it. All the cosmic elements, all the Cthulhu-esque stuff in Dark Ages.
What if it's a Doom Quake crossover?
I assumed that when I saw that, it's like, oh, they're getting the asset pipeline ready for Doom. They're telling the artists to start working on stuff. For Quake.
Yeah.
They're getting stuff ready for Quake. Yeah, so Quake is where my brain would go, especially if you have in Bethesda's line item of, hey, we're going to focus on our big franchises, including Doom and Quake. Like, you just had this amazing Victory Lap DLC come out. Basically, they just released a fourth game. Basically, like, just give it a break. Do Quake instead.
Give it a Quake.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
The layoffs are absolutely a stupid, oh, we don't need you right now, so you're gone. There is someone, and I'm not going to say who this person is. I'm not going to say what their role is, but there is someone I know at Xbox who has been impacted. They're being cut. They're being cut a little bit later this year. And the explanation for why they're being cut a little bit later this year is there is something vital that only they can work on that has to launch later this year, and then they'll be removed. And it's so stupid.
I mean,
it's
fuck
like
you.
It's
you know what I mean?
No, genuinely, that was my reaction when I heard it from this person, because it's like, what do you mean you're the vital person who has to help see this launch through? No one else has access to A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z that you do. But then after that, it's sayonara.
That's some bullshit. I would be like, are you fucking for real? I'd be like, well, good luck. I'm off now. Like, but that's the frustrating thing is it's the homes impacted. It's the families that have moved to support the dream and all of this jazz. And like, I've perused LinkedIn. I'm connected to a lot of different folks on there. The heartbreak, like genuine heartbreak, that for some of these people, this was their dream to work in this department, in this division, and to have it taken away is look. And I get it. Microsoft ain't a charity, right? This is not how it operates. But like, there does, and this leads me back. This leads us back nicely. It segues us back into what's the vision, because this is the big question. You've done this. Okay, we've heard the market sound bites. We know that the media lost their collective shit when she said, we want to be the number one biggest entertainment company in the world.
Billion
we
a
want to
day.
connect with a billion gamers, or a billion people. I don't think if she even said billion gamers. I think
entertain a billion people is, I believe, the exact quote.
Right, but so many people say
is
billion
still pretty
gamers.
high up there.
It's pretty high up there, but like it's not actually insane because she's talking about TV shows and games and the platform and X, Y, and mobile. And it's like, okay, so we've heard all the sound bites, but how are you going to get there? And this is like the big question. And this is going to upset anyone that really bleeds green. So apologies in advance. I'm a fan of Xbox as a platform. I think as a platform, objectively, to a degree, as a console platform, they have the best ecosystem, they have the best controller, and I think they are one of the best places to play games. That's my objective opinion, and I'm basing that on experience.
You mean
free cloud
subjective?
saves.
People yell at you.
No, it's an objective. It's an objective one. The controller's the subjective one.
Yeah,
but
the best to play on. You think the thing they offer all around that most of the media doesn't interact with and are just used to not working elsewhere is the best.
Yeah, the ecosystem in terms of like what you get as an Xbox customer, I think is better than what you get as a Nintendo customer or a PlayStation customer. And I think that's objectively
It blows my mind that cloud saves are paid on Nintendo and PlayStation.
And it's just accepted.
I'm just so used to it being free on Xbox and Steam for that matter. Like I'm just so used to it working. But
so and I look, that's not a big deal. What about the games? And yeah, you're right. We're all here to play games, right? And that's why people own multiple platforms. But Xbox have got themselves to such the brand. It's really hard to talk about this stuff without pissing people off. So I'm going to try and do this carefully. I still stand by my original viewpoint. I stand by this today in that if it's option A, team gets shut down and closed and the game doesn't see the light of day, or option B, the game gets released everywhere and I get to have more of the thing I like, I will always choose the option B. Like, I do not care about where I play in particular. That said, Microsoft, Sean Layden did an interview with Eurogamer this week where he said, platform or publisher, you can't choose both. Like, I want to zoom in on that kind of mentality a little bit because Microsoft tried to straddle both lines, right? And they've done this whole releasing everything everywhere. And the brand has eroded, not just because they've done that, but because of the persistent and constant, like the number of articles I've read this, and PlayStation are now being pulled into this because of their killing physical media, which was the week before this week.
Right.
What's the point of even owning one of these devices anymore? What is the point? What is the benefit to us as a consumer anymore? And considering the Rampocalypse and the cost of everything, and we can add all of these points, I am struggling right now to see what the actual plan is. Make more big games, cool. Do you want the Xbox console to sell bucket loads? Because if you do, it's almost like, and this is just my opinion, we're going to have to ask Microsoft to pretend that they're going into the industry again for the first time. Everything you make, if you want to sell your consoles, you are going to have to force people to buy it.
Yep.
So you've got two options. I don't think they'll ever live in a world where they're going to pull games from Steam, but if they really want to be the Xbox, they only put them on their store and they only put the stuff that they make that's first party on console for their only console players. They can't release it on any other device. So when they talk about the return of exclusives, we understand that perhaps there's contractual obligations to fill. They've said they'll do things. They'll see those through. Good guy, Microsoft, Kumbaya, Jamba, all that stuff. But what is the plan? Are you willing? Because if you are willing to do that, and that is the plan, you are going to lose so much money. And the big question there is, will the people above you, Asha, Satcher, Amy Hood, allow that to happen? And it's short-sightedness versus short-term pain or long-term gain? Like, what is the plan? And what do you guys think? What do you think the plan is to bring this back for them?
Jesse, do you want to go first? Or
No, feel free.
I think the plan is the plan until it's not the plan.
Hey, there it is.
No, there's a quote in Dance with Dragons. Sorry, I've been watching House of the Dragon recently, so I'm in a very Song of Ice and Fire mood. It's a great quote in the 5th book written by Martin about what plan, the plan that changes. Now. Yeah, Jesus Christ. The plan that changes every time the moon turns, and that quote has really been resonating with me when it comes to Xbox, because they have to have some sort of long-term vision. But I'll be honest, as much of a fan as I am, as much as I have enjoyed Xbox games and the platform, nothing right now tells me that they actually do have that. If I'm being completely honest, like I don't see that. I want to be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. But the only way for that to happen is to let time pass and see it through.
Yep.
And I think you're great. I mean,
I don't think anyone has any type of long-term plan right now.
Oh, I agree with you. Mind you, I agree. But like we're talking specifically about Xbox.
Yeah. So when it's like, what is their plan? It's like you try and start shifting a little bit back to the old system to make your... And then eventually you shift away from that because it wasn't working anyways. It doesn't work for anyone right now besides Nintendo.
I think the optimistic read, because I'm going to be optimistic here, is they have realized that not everything can be multi-platform. Too many multi-platform games dilutes interest. It creates this brand effect where obviously people are not going to buy a console or buy into a platform for just one game. They do it for the whole ecosystem. At the same time, you have to deal with the fact that you own Call of Duty. Call of Duty cannot be exclusive. There's other franchises that are already existing everywhere. There are certain things that, probably do well enough to justify bringing them over eventually. Specifically, I'm thinking of Forza Horizon and Sea of Thieves. Like those are the two that, more than anything, they just make so much money over on other platforms.
Halo multiplayer only really has a chance of catching on if it's everywhere.
Right. So I guess maybe you can argue the idea is try to focus on big pillar IP like Fallout so that the single player games you put out are as big as possible and make as much money as possible despite being limited to Xbox and PC. And then you make up additional money with the multiplayer games like Call of Duty, Forza Horizon, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, bringing in microtransactions and add-ons and additional revenue, over time. That's the only thing I see that makes sense.
Yeah, because you're right, like with Forza Horizon in particular, like people would say, it got to a point where Forza Horizon as a franchise was a system seller, right? Well, clearly it wasn't, because it released on the other platform, it released on PlayStation, and those 5-6 million, however many million sales it's got now, are 6 million customers that doesn't matter what Microsoft
they were never going to move.
That was the Sean Layden point on PC. If someone's waiting 18 months to play your game, it wasn't a system seller.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's that element to it, right? But if you do that, you mentioned Call of Duty, and I'm of the opinion that if this is the new strategy, right? If buy our fucking box, I always say you could argue to a court of law right now that hey, do you remember when you made us sign this deal and definitely not make it exclusive? Look at us, we're fucked. I'd always look how fucked we are, and be like, can we go back to just 30-day map packs are exclusive to us? Can we have some exclusive modes? We own it. They should be doing everything they can if this is the plan to make their box the best place to play. Because they are working in an ecosystem where they're publishing games on their partner platform. And I've made this point before, and I think it's bullshit that Remedy said yes to this. But you've got customer A buying Control Resonant Deluxe Edition on PlayStation 5, and they get 2 days early access?
48 hours, yeah.
Customer B spending the same amount of money on the Xbox platform, or on PC for that matter, doesn't get that. For this same amount of cash. That's bullshit. There's no need for that. That is PlayStation being like, yeah, well, we're going to do that. You want to do that? and Remedy taking a check and saying yes.
And PlayStation doing their normal, we're going to target things that were generally associated with Xbox before.
Yeah. So, like, if this is where, like, I wish that we could have a bit more communication. And I get it, these things take time, and maybe now's not the time, right?
Mhm.
But, like, it's not clear to me yet, and I'm struggling to see how they get to clarity. And that's a challenge for that team right now, like a leadership team in general, to get that across.
I know people aren't going to want to hear this. I genuinely think the most clarity we're going to get is that they will actually take every game case by case. And I know people don't want to hear that, but I think that is realistically what happens is
why we're not getting clarity, because that is what they're going to do.
And it's an Ouroboros, exactly. Like, I think we will find out what platforms the game is coming to when it gets a release date, basically.
We've got a $10 super chat from the lovely Tiberius Monk, supporter and DayOne member and all of that jazz. He says, hello, Jesse and John, and welcome back, Sam. Sean Layden did make an interesting comment about that Xbox should decide to be a platform or publisher, but can't be both. Would like to get your thoughts. We did just mention that. He did have an interview with Eurogamer where they chased him up and kind of had a chat with him. And apparently he had a conversation with Asha Sharma after calling out how Microsoft operate on LinkedIn. And he is of the opinion that, you know, if you're going to be a platform, you've got to go all in about your box, your device, your ecosystem, and that's your job. And your job isn't to own every game. Your job is to make your place the best place, the most attractive place to play, to draw in customers and support it with your releases from your teams. Versus if you want to be a publisher, well, yeah, you go and make all your money and live a great life. You can't do both.
I think, sorry.
Is he right?
I think there's a kernel of truth in there. I think he's half right. I don't think he's 100% right. I think he's half right. I think they have to have Xbox exclusive games just because, like, you need that in order to draw the hardcore, and you need that in order for people to say, oh, this is why I'm playing over here. This is the only way that I'm going to be able to play, and we'll see if this holds. But for now, Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution is by playing it on Xbox or PC.
The big one is getting
just accept that they're never going to give Steam up.
The big one is in a couple of years getting to Elder Scrolls. Once you've got something level,
Elder Scrolls 6, and since this is going to be a thing, let's throw Obsidian's Fallout in there. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the two big cards to play. And I think and I'll say this, like, I've been kind of pessimistic, so I want to be optimistic. I think they will. I think they will play the cards of, do you want to play these games? You need either you're on Steam, in which case, fine, cool, whatever, or you're getting an Xbox. I think they will for those.
Yeah,
and
I think they will too.
And because those are the two biggest cards they can play.
Yeah, same with a Halo single player,
Minecraft.
Halo 2. Single player. I know there's some kerfuffle. Like, this is a remake. Halo 1 is this is a remake. I'm very curious to see what happens with 2 and 3, because spoiler alert, those are getting remade. So like, I'm very curious to see what happens there, and that'll be interesting. And I would also be very, very interested in seeing what happens with a Fable follow-up, because obviously they're locked in on that for now. But what happens when, okay, you had the first one, but no obligations have been made for Fable 2 in 4 years or so? Like, what happens there? So
one of the big changes for Game Pass being, we'll give you a Game Pass deal, but you're just here at the beginning. Because for years it has been, you can be anywhere. I don't give a shit. You're going to be here. You're going to be playing anywhere. You can be wherever else you want. But yes,
we will absolutely see a lot of Game Pass deals for indies and the double A's, like the teams that they did try owning. Like, they're just going to go after them with timed exclusive Game Pass deals. Heck, it wouldn't even surprise me if they go after Double Fine and Compulsion with those and agree to do something with them. Like, I'm not even joking. I think that's very possible.
So to focus in on Sean Layden's quote, and I want to provide the full quote for context for all of us as well.
Who wants context? You can't get outraged with full context.
No, let's get some full context. This is the Eurogame article. I'll pop a link in the chat if people want to go read it. It's from features editor by Robert Purchase. I'll put a link in the chat so people can go read the full thing. But here's what Sean Layden had to say. Where is this? I just had it and I foolishly scrolled down. God damn it. Where is it? Come on. Okay. Here we go. Microsoft has to make a choice, Layden tells me. The Xbox business either has to focus on becoming the biggest game publisher in the world, which with Activision Blizzard and Bethesda on its books, it is very close to being, or it has to focus on being a platform holder like a more traditional console business. And this is to answer your question, Tiberius. And to answer someone in the chat was like, PlayStation are a publisher, a platform. What are you talking about? And a platform. So he says here, it can't be both. There's two roads, he explains. To be a competitive platform rival in the marketplace with PlayStation or the biggest game publisher in the world, which based on all their acquisitions, they're either there or they're close to it. But those two roads do not converge. Those two roads necessarily diverge because to be a platform and to be a very well supported, well accepted, well selling platform, you need exclusive content. Nintendo needs its Mario and its Zelda. PlayStation needs Crash, owned by Microsoft, and Astrobot and Kratos and Horizon, all of that. But if you're going to be the biggest publisher in the world, which is not a bad ambition, I'm sure there's gold on their hills. You have to bring your stuff onto every platform. Multi-platform, if you're being a publisher first, is almost a prerequisite. And he adds in here, when I was running PlayStation Studios, even in our biggest year, we never got over maybe 22% market share. He's talking about games here, not the console hardware market.
Right.
Easily 80% of the business was being delivered by Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, Activision, Take-Two, Bandai Namco, Sega. That's their opportunity. And as a first-party platform, our job was almost not to be the biggest game publisher in the world. In fact, it was our interest to stop. It was against our interest to start muscling our partners out of the pie. We weren't there to steal. I wasn't making games so I could steal market share from EA or steal market share from Activision. My job was to make the game pie bigger, and my opportunity was in growing it out. When you read that in that full context, it makes sense.
It's reasonable.
I fully understand.
And PlayStation fully tried moving away from that and spending insane amounts of money this generation to not even get that many games out.
I was going to say, like, there is obviously a couple of big asterisk marks there, which is one, he talks about like not wanting to cut down or muscle out other partners. Sure, but they were very happy to muscle out their platform competitors by throwing out as many timed exclusivity deals as the world has ever could ever
he
seen.
mentions Nintendo, and Nintendo is a platform holder, and that is the biggest publisher on their platform by bar none. Like
right. So like he's telling the truth, but there is additional context and nuance. And even over at PlayStation, I would point out, they got muscled in and basically told by MLB, look, either you take your baseball game multi-platform or we're going to find a different partner. Like that's what happens. So now MLB The Show comes out every year like clockwork. Great team. It comes out every year. It's an annual franchise, and it's done very well for them that way. Bungie and Marathon, obviously, who knows what Bungie's future looks like exactly. But for now, even though Sony has more control over Bungie stuff is still multi-platform. I've played Marathon for like 250, 300 hours on Xbox. Helldivers, PlayStation Studios' biggest game, so big, 20 million copies sold, something stupid like that after 2 years, something crazy like that after 2 years. It was so big that it got brought over to Xbox because they just needed more players and they needed more revenue.
It was really big on Steam, a lot bigger than it ever was on console before that point.
Absolutely, that too. That's absolutely a factor too. So like, I just say all that to say, like, I think there is some truth to what he's talking about, but also like the devil's in the details.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. But that's where that's all coming from. And I understand the argument, absolutely. But you're absolutely right in that it's not quite so black and white, especially now in this economy, in this market, in the way that the games industry is, with the rise of free to play and all of this jazz. It's a lot tougher out there than it was back in the the noughties. So yeah, we've talked a little bit about that. We've got another super chat here from Claw117. It says, I play mainly on PC, so the multi-platform push never bothered me, but I never understood why Xbox didn't even try to give Xbox more perks over the others. When it comes to games, they kind of did, but this is, again, people have to recognize that the way that games are reported on is a microcosm of the larger market. All right, the split is the split, and the reality is that your average legacy games media person is probably playing on PlayStation and PC over Xbox. And they're probably Nintendo and PlayStation and PC.
Like that guy PS Trophy Room in the chat.
Yeah, especially that asshole. Jake, love you, Joe. But like when you think about it in that way, and I still think, and people will say, "Oh, fanboy," I still think this is one of Xbox's biggest problems, is that you are operating in a market where the people that talk about your stuff and the people that play your games when you hand out codes and stuff like that, if it's exclusive to your machine, they begrudgingly play it there, right? And because that's not where they want to play. And if you look at the multi-platform push when there was games, and I guarantee you watch the fucking Fable reviews. If they offer PS5 code at the same time as they offer Xbox code, look at the split. Watch what happens.
Watch Halo at the end of this month.
Yeah, that will be super interesting. Watch Halo at the end of this month. I guarantee you the split will lean towards PlayStation because that is where these people prefer to play. And everything kind of is then talked about through that same lens, which is why it's why we started DayOne or Xbox Era back in the days, because like we'd listen to shows like this and we'd hear people talking and we'd be like, dude, cloud saves are free on Xbox. Didn't you know that? And they wouldn't know that. They don't talk about it.
Or because smart delivery was actually pretty good.
How all the mockery of smart delivery. And
smart delivery has been vindicated, I think.
Right? But it hasn't, because all of this gets forgotten and it just gets like, it isn't front of mind. And that is a huge problem for Microsoft when you've got hundreds of voices with weight carrying to them. And, say what you will about games media not having as much weight anymore, but the influencers do it too. And the YouTubers do it too. Like where it's just like, oh, what is the point of this box? What is the, and it's constant. And that is the worst thing for the brand right now, is that it is pervasive. It reaches down into the levels of like the normies knowing about it. Do you know what I mean? Like where you'll get like your mate at the pub who will be like, oh, what's happening with Xbox? Are they closing down? And you're like, no, but like the messaging permeates through. That is a huge problem for Microsoft. And I don't really see a way of them fighting against that, aside from, and if I ever get the opportunity, like just to say this out loud, it would be like everyone, and Nick and I said this on the show, everyone already thinks you're assholes. So embrace it and be assholes. Oh, you want to play Fallout? Go buy the box. You want the review code for it? It's on Xbox, mate. And just continually, but again, it's going to require that huge investment of cash and money and wasted sales.
Time.
Which they don't have.
Time. And time is money and all that. I get it. But like the other thing, and this is like not against what you're saying, but just it's sort of tangential, it's sort of tied in. I think one thing Nintendo in particular has done so well is keeping the youngest generation interested in their franchises so that they grow up with it. It's like it's very easy to find Nintendo games that, hey, I want to hand this to my 5-year-old kid, and this can be the first real game that they've played. It is hard to find that on PlayStation and Xbox. And that is something that both of them, but you're talking about Xbox here, like that's something that, hey, you have Minecraft, figure it out. Like you have opportunity there. You have the franchise that it can work with. But that's just an idle thought I've had.
We've had a little bit about that though, about how, like the money that Minecraft made and Mojang made was funding some of these underperforming releases from other studios, and like it then was not getting reinvested back into Minecraft. And it's like, Minecraft could be a lot bigger. And like there's been talk about the Robloxification of Minecraft, so they want to go UGC route.
That's something that they need to be careful with that. They need to be very careful. I mean, you say Roblox, the hair on my neck stands up straight.
Please don't do that.
Please be careful. Be careful with it.
So suffice to say, there's a lot of challenge, I think, ahead for Microsoft. I guess the next question is, do we think, like when you look ahead and you think about Project Helix and things like that, we got PlayStation sort of tentatively, if you read between the lines, suggesting that post January 2028 is when a PS6 is going to arrive at
I
some
don't
point.
think. I think
year.
that they could have the PS6 come out while rounding up their PS5 discs. PS6 just doesn't have any.
Yeah, potentially you might be right.
But also, I think one of them just came out today. One of the RAM places and is like 2027 is going to be the worst year for RAM shortages. Sorry.
Great.
But
like that's like, again, fitting into that broader, what's the plan? Like, can they recover? Is the strategy for Helix still the strategy, considering? Like,
I don't think an open platform is a strategy anymore. No.
I think the open side might technically still be there, but this is me spitballing. I genuinely have no sources on the hardware side. For what the plan is there. My assumption is, you might technically be able to load the Epic Game Store, but it's going to be a headache and a half. It's not going to be like on the ROG Ally X, just, switch it over. It's easy. Like, no. It won't be. I think it will technically support other stores, but I think it will be too far out of like the range of capability for a normie to usually easily do it. That's my guess.
The store on it would probably only be the Xbox store. If there's access, it's things you have already bought or buy elsewhere, type of thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's how it works. It's a complicated one. Last thing I'll throw out in the chat, or rather throw out to the panel here before we have a look at some of the community questions we've had from DayOne folks, is a couple of things. So if you were in charge, if you were the CEO, and maybe even if you could persuade Amy Hood to let you do what you want to do, and
we're in fantasy land,
distract Satya with some new agentic AI.
If you're doing the thing Nick does every show and talks like he knows what
corner him with new AI models so he can't touch anything.
Yeah. Like, play with these. Shh, leave us alone. If you were in charge, like, what would, starting from today, and as you go forward, let's say towards the end of calendar year 2028, what would your plan be? Like, what would you do? And this can be vague. This can be big ticket items. Like, what would be your goal and your focus if you were the boss?
So we are in fantasy land.
We're complete fantasy land. Money's no object. You've got the call.
Money is no object. We have all right. So no matter what, we're explain and hammer it through their heads. We are going to take a loss for the next couple of years, even after these heinous cuts, because of the way the market works, and we have to buy trust. We literally have to buy people's trust and get people's trust. To that end, immediately, I make it very clear single-player games are going to be exclusive for at least a couple of years. Maybe years down the line, they can be reevaluated, and a generation later, case by case, we'll see about porting something to Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever. But if you want to play Fallout from Obsidian, if you want to play The Elder Scrolls 6, if you want to play, what other games do they even have that haven't been canceled at this point?
It's painful.
That's a horrifying realization I just had.
Next
mainline Halo, next single player Halo. If you want to play those, you're getting on Xbox or PC. Period. End of discussion. Not up for debate.
Yeah.
That is plan number one. Plan number two is figure something out with integrating games on a platform level to provide a benefit for Xbox users that is not coming at a cost to other players. And I think this is tricky. I don't know exactly what this looks like, but follow me through here. If you are playing Diablo 4, or the news, because I assume it would be multi-platform, but who the hell knows, StarCraft shooter from Blizzard that's been widely reported, or if you're playing Call of Duty, or you're playing Minecraft, or you're playing Forza Horizon, it should feel special and beneficial to you that you are playing on Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that without arbitrarily chopping off parts of the game that, other users who have paid should have access to, and I don't want to do that. So I don't know what that looks like, but you follow my train of thinking.
Yeah, exclusive skins.
You have to figure something out on that front. I don't know what that looks like. That's sort of an open one. I would love to, if people have suggestions in the chat, make someone playing on Xbox feel special without feeling like you're waving a middle finger around to someone who bought the same game on Steam or PS5.
Yeah. We're not talking 48 hours exclusive.
We're not talking 48 hours access. We are not talking bringing map packs back. Map packs being gone is genuinely better for the industry. I stand by that. I believe.
Yeah, 100%.
And since we're in Fantasyland, third and final point is that we immediately stop the nonsense with selling Arcane, apologize to them, and promise to expand Arcane and turn them into a pillar for ZeniMax because we're not losing our minds anymore. So
we are in Fantasyland.
Sorry, I had to sneak that one in there. But
would
yeah,
you
I
add anything to that, Jess?
My first one would be outside of way better support for regions on audio and subtitles and everything, and not just having dog shit AI translations. Better regional pricing. Good. Their regional pricing on Doom: The Dark Ages is one of the main reasons it struggled. It shouldn't have been $70, and then it was 80 to 90 to 100 in most other major territories for them. Like, it was a really badly priced game. It just, like, a single player 10 to 20 hour thing for most people being way more expensive than any free-to-play they can jump into by an order of magnitude, even if you're spending $20 a month or a week in that goddamn game. It's just like, it was very, very poorly priced, which they do seem to have realized, because like Fable and some of the other ones seem way better regionally priced right now. So keep that going. And I know it's not a panacea for everything, but like, that $50, that $40 to $60 price point on your smaller AAA titles, you have to keep that in mind. Like, a Fallout spinoff from Obsidian shouldn't be 70, probably.
Make it 60.
If Fallout 5 is 70, it should be a little lower. Like, trying to make the Outer Worlds 280 was so fucking idiotic, and just immediately put it behind an 8-ball that it could not come back from. Yeah,
kneecap the game. And to be fair here, I do think, at least in US pricing, your point about other markets is spot on. I think Xbox has been by far the best.
Yeah, they actually have that as
adjusting their prices. Yeah. Halo Campaign Evolved being 50 despite the new missions, I think is a very, very good call.
Could be 30. I'm kidding.
No, let's not lose our heads here. Let's not be ridiculous. But yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
You said Fantasyland.
I think that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But like, you nailed on some great stuff. Like the localization across regions is so poor on Xbox, and it's been such a repeated thing for Arabic-speaking nations and others. And it blows my mind that has not been solved yet. Like, you are Microsoft, $1 trillion company. How have you not invested in this? If I were in charge, like, considering the backlash, even if it's technically something you will lose more money on, come out with support for physical media. Again, I don't give two shits. I haven't bought physical discs since Titanfall 1.
That is a thing we hadn't talked about, is they didn't do an insider preview this week. They've been doing it very consistently. And when they said that, Jez replied, "Positron cometh." So
yes, Microsoft's digital disk-to-digital preview might be hitting insiders soon, according to hints and tidbits out there. Could be cool, but like, yeah, if I look ahead at the next generation,
it would be an add-on. It wouldn't be there by default. But if you can do an add-on,
but
that'd be awesome.
Give your consumers an option. And
I think, even if you don't mind, I don't want to take over.
Please,
no, but like on the physical front, like, I think even if you are charging more and explaining it'll take more time, the hardcore, the extreme minority who actually care about physical media will show up, just like a vinyl releases. Vinyl is bigger now than it ever has been in history.
Film cameras,
but you have to make it worth it to people. My pitch, I have told this to people at Xbox before. My pitch for physical media to keep it going would be explain that it will not be out day one. It will be out after any promised DLC. Give months time for updates, because you want to actually have the complete game on the disc.
That would require them to finally do the dual layer license, though.
You would require them to actually license it probably, and explain that it will be more expensive, even though it's coming later when a game might normally be discounted. If you can do that and make someone feel like they are actually truly getting the game for their collection properly, I guarantee you that
People
minority
show
will
up.
show up and support it.
Especially if you're like, hey, you know, we're actually going to treat this like a big deal. Like every physical release is going to be like, you've got options, a steelbook. Like we're going to do a full page manual again. Like we're going to treat these in the way that vinyl collectors do, and in the way that, you know, film buffs do.
Yeah.
We're going to give you, yes, it will cost you more, but we're going to give you this premium experience. Like, here you go. That's absolutely one way I would do that. Like I would absolutely be hammering on these points because, you know, like, and I give Jason Ronald has talked loads about preservation and, you know, like I've chatted to him privately about it, and he comes across as genuinely sincere and that this is an important thing to him and his team. This is the opportunity to underline that from a corporate level and tell gamers that really value this stuff, like, yeah, we're going to be there. And you do that when you announce your Project Helix publicly, whatever in form it's going to take. Again, I don't give two shits about physical. I'm not going to buy any of them,
Sure.
but I don't want to like yuck someone else's yum or say, no, fuck you, you can't have that. And I think it's absolutely true. Seeing gamers like react in this way, music fans get their music still physically a lot of the time. Movie fans can still buy everything physically most of the time. Like, why is it that this medium has to be the first to take the plunge? And it's, you know, we've had the EU Commission come out and be like, yeah, there's nothing we can do about this. Sony are free to do what they like in terms of how they distribute. It's not our job.
Cool. Great, guys.
Yeah, I mean, come on, the EU does force a lot of good stuff on sometimes.
No, I know that.
Not that I like love it, but
I appreciate the
customer
EU
sentiment.
Yeah.
Like the customers just aren't really buying it anymore. So there is no, it's like, no, there's a very obvious demand. You guys are just chopping this off. The main issue with Sony's side of it is that they don't give good options. Steam, Xbox, and even to a lesser degree Nintendo, you can get it from resellers, especially Steam. You can get so many resellers, whereas Sony has that monopoly on the digital store.
And on top of that, it blows my mind to this day. I cannot gift a game to a friend on PlayStation. That blows my mind. On Xbox, on Steam. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think you can on Nintendo.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but even if not, like that gets to your point. Like they're the
actually
resellers.
no, you can because you can buy as a gift. I remember seeing it in the menu.
Okay, well there we go. Yeah, I don't buy things enough there to 100% remember it, but like I can gift something. I can gift to my heart's delight on Xbox and Steam. If you're going to take away, you know, physical options and the resellers there, PlayStation, the least you can do is give people gifting options. I mean, come on, you know. So
I think that's the other thing that Sony really didn't underestimated sheer hubris. I don't know, but like, hey, and the downstream impact on all the other businesses that rely on this stuff, regardless, to tell your customer base that and still have one of the worst digital stores in general. And again,
closing
this
two
is
of them.
this is the joy of the market leader, right? Like, and this is arguably what a lot of people that get so cross with Microsoft and Xbox for not competing in the way that was traditionally felt they should be over the last couple of years, what a lot of them were kind of pointing towards. You know, and I've seen people like talking about acquisitions and how we should never have let them do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, if the choice was between Double Fine dying, 7 years ago, or surviving for another 7 years, and I got to play Keeper and I got to play this and that, and Psychonauts 2 got to be finished, I'll take these choices. Like, I give credit a little bit towards the vision of what they wanted to do. This non-interfered, let creators create. It just didn't land. It didn't work.
Thought
now they want to pivot.
Experiment behind it. Is it better to have become as big and create as many jobs as Xbox, or is it better to refuse to become bigger despite making more and more money like Valve? Like, Valve is still a teeny tiny company.
I know.
That is pretty much just a rent landlord. Like, they don't really make new things. Their biggest game is still their own with Counter-Strike. But it's mostly because of the money laundering operation with all of its freaking skins and shit. But like, the actual platform is solid. It's pretty good. It mostly works. And they have a very passionate, tiny few hundred people that like pushing Linux gaming further and further and making cool hardware. But as far as like the actual whole industry, they are just a 30% landlord for that gives this huge platform that is so big now that I mean, you can't play horses on it, but you can play sex with Hitler because their actual friggin' the way they treat out all of it kind of sucks. So is it better to have been this giant company in Microsoft that bought all these things and kept all these things alive and put billions into third parties, but now they're firing a bunch of people because it didn't work exactly how they want? Or is it better to have never done any of that type of stuff, but get bigger and bigger? Like,
it's better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I get what you're saying, though.
Honestly, the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Once again, that's just how most things.
The thing that people get frustrated at is seeing, as always in life, the rich get richer, and the people that actually make the stuff that we love. Because gaming is such a social, connected pastime. Like this podcast, this show, this team that makes DayOne, the Sam running campaign mode, which you should go subscribe to. All of this stuff, all of these connections across this, and the people I've met on the road and at events, they're all from all sorts of walks of life, but they all have this one common love of this interactive medium. It captures us when we're kids, and it sticks with us even in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. I want to be playing games when I'm 80, if I make it that far, right? But the money people don't live and breathe that in the same way that we do. And you can be a good manager, you can be a good CEO and not be a gamer, like absolutely. But that's where a lot of the anger comes from, is because there is passion and love for the hobby. And I endeavor to implore Microsoft to sometimes bear that in mind if they can. They never will, because they're a $1 trillion company. I don't give a shit about what I have to say or think. But it's something that should always be coming across in everything they do. And I think that they've lost sight of that a lot over the last few years, the last decade, let's say. All right, we've talked through everything. I hope that people have enjoyed this kind of more conversational show. Like, it didn't make sense to me, considering the amount of news and the amount of headline shows that we've done this week, to go through line by line and rehash every conversation, every headline. I wanted to kind of go big picture a little bit, and I hope people have enjoyed the chat. But that's not the end of it, because as one of the benefits of being a supporter of DayOne, many of our members get to ask us questions across our Discord server and our forums, and we're going to dive into a few of those now. If you aren't a supporter of this team, I would implore you to do so if you can. And I get it, in this economy, man, like, it's hard. But if you saw one of us at a pub or in a coffee shop somewhere and you thought, I'd probably buy him a coffee, just maybe do that every month. It's great. It's fine. It's £4. It's cheap. It's $3.99. But it gives you access, and it gives you all of the stuff that we make from a members content perspective for free, as well as no ads across our forum and website, which is pretty great because the website's gorgeous. We're going to dive into some of those questions now, but big thank you to everyone that does support us. If you don't, head over to playdata1/memberships. The first question is from another creator-led independent little outlet that's doing everything they can. Luke Law from Expansion Pass. He has a question, and it's pretty simple. He says, I'm running out of energy.
I think you're just loaded up last week's.
Yeah, the link has not been changed. I'm gonna.
I always forget those links are even there. I just loaded them. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Where is it?
There you go.
Sorry, everyone.
Link is updated. You have access. It's just in your Google Forms.
Yeah, I know. I have to come back out and then go back in. Okay, this is better. Here we go. We've got Tiberius Monk. A life question. Ooh, I like a life question. Hello, everyone at the Nick Per Minute DayOne show, featuring Nick and friends. Not today, but I'm sure Nick will love you for that.
But we can laugh about this.
Yeah. Nick, you farted on last week's show, and we all noticed. He who smelt it dealt it, and I imagine how Jesse and John felt. I bet they were triggered. Jesse has the footage. Jesse sees everything like the eye of Sauron. I expect some decorum from you, good sir. Now that that's out of the way, I have a life question for us all. With all the stresses of life and gaming, How do you stay motivated to live life, enjoy gaming, and do the DayOne show every week? Thanks for the great content. We fans appreciate it. Take care and ciao. It's a good question. I don't know about you guys, and Sam, you do enough shows to probably be able to comment on this anyway. There are days, like headlines and DayOne show included, where you got to bear in mind, like for me, especially in the UK, it's every Saturday night, every week, more often than not. Like I'll have a few weekends off every now and then for events and stuff, but some days, yeah, like I might not be in the mood, I might be low energy, and you kind of have to snap it out a little bit and just be like, oh, okay, and power through, because that's the job. And I treat this like I'm going to work, as much as I love doing it. And it's, what's that saying? Like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't know how true that is, because I do feel like I work my butt off sometimes, and I might speak for Jesse.
You don't love
pretty sure that he feels the same.
No, because I get to avoid the more boring business side of it.
Yeah, like
so. How do you do so many reviews? Like I like doing reviews, so I like doing those, and I like playing games. So I don't get the business side burnout that you do.
Yeah, and I have to deal with a lot of the stress of the financial side of it, keeping everything alive, the accounts, blah blah blah. I'm not a business guy. Like I didn't really plan on this really, and I was very much this is 7 years in now, flying by the seat of my pants. And I still don't know what I'm doing half the time, but what I am good at, as per my moniker on the Discord, I do have a lot of crazy ideas. And I'm very lucky.
You gave yourself that moniker.
I do have a lot of crazy ideas. I did give myself that moniker. But yeah, like I still love it. I just try, and when I need a day off, like today when we talked about at the beginning of the show, I needed to not be at a screen. And I will take the opportunity when I can. What about you, Sam? Like it's a little bit like it might be interesting for people to know, like in terms of like perhaps a little detail where you can, like how freelancing works and like how you've got through over the last year. Talk about campaign mode.
Sure. So it's been a little weird for me, because my answer to this question would be very, very, very different than this exact time last year, right? I've been open about this. I think I've even talked about this on this show, if I'm not mistaken. But the fact is, I can admit I worked too much. I did when I was still employed by Windows Central. I loved working with that team. I loved working with Jez. I worked too much. I poured too much of myself into it, and I burned the fuck out, just to be completely blunt about it. And I had to take some time to recover, and it took a couple of months of soul searching and staring off dead-eyed into space in order to realize, like, okay, no, I love what I do. I love this industry. In spite of this industry pulling its nonsense, I do love it. So what is it about it that I love? Do I still want to be in? What ways do I still want to be involved in it? And that's what led to Campaign Mode, which is my newsletter, where I realized it is nice, and more importantly, it is needed for me to have something that is just 100% mine. That at the end of the day, this is the thing that no one else can look over my shoulder and tell me, hey, you need to change this headline to do this, or oh, well, more people would click on it if you do this, or hey, we're using this experimental AI tool to do this and this and this without asking you to. No. Zilch, zip, cut it out.
Get out of my face.
This is mine, and no one else, with all the love and respect in the world to everybody I know, both here at DayOne and a bunch of other colleagues and former coworkers of mine, no one else is ever going to touch it. It's mine. And I like that, and I needed that for me. So as for what the freelancing side of things looks like, to be completely honest, it's very bleak right now. It is not a good time to be freelancing in this industry, but I have been fortunate enough to have some good contacts, have some good conversations. I did some work for Game Developer, formerly Gama Sutra, great team over there, great people, great editorial staff. And there's some other conversations I'm having with a couple of different outlets. It's a lot of hard work, and it's very difficult, but at the end of the day, it just comes back to the fact of I love the people in this industry. You know, that is what makes weeks like this hard, right? Because it's like, oh, it's one thing to say, oh, all the, roles cut at Xbox and layoffs at ZeniMax. It's another thing for me when it's like, I have friends working at ZeniMax and I am checking in with them literally every single day going, hey, man, do you still have a job? Hey,
Yeah.
are you still good? And some of them are, and some of them aren't.
Yeah.
That makes it tough, but at the same time, that's why I'm doing it and why I can't see myself ever truly doing anything else.
Fuck yeah, bro.
I hope that helps.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah. Okay. Now on to the
I'll see you in a couple
longest
hours.
question. Finn, don't make me introduce a character limit to this, because good lord,
Uh-oh.
buckle up on this question. Good evening, morning, day one crew, and top of the evening to you, Samuel Talbot. Hope everyone's weekend is doing well. Not. All right, what do you mean you don't hope my weekend's going well? This is off to a bad start. I sent my Series X cleaned out and patched up from a Microsoft Center after I sent it over there. Keep your consoles clean, because these consoles will last a long time whenever this RAM SSD hell ends. This will be the longest winded rant I will do for the remainder of time until I write again here. To Samuel, I sincerely apologize to you, mate, but this is how I'll write, but not to the degree of which you'll see. Rant Ruin, Part 1, Xbox Reset. I love that Jesse's got this up on screen in teeny weeny Ice Drano vision. I wanted to wait until the actual information was confirmed from Xbox, Microsoft, or reputable reporters that I know and follow, Jason Schreier, Tom Warren, and Jez Corden. And since the hammer is now dropped, I have a lot to say, but we're trying to keep it condensed. How the fucking fuck has Xbox been mismanaged itself, even from the time post Xbox One and now Series X and S? We can agree or disagree that Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and even Matt Booty have mismanaged Xbox to the point where having 14 layers of management is just head scratching and not necessarily needed. But this alone falls onto Satya Nadella and Amy Hood, who have been penny pinching and constant unobtainable goals to meet. Now on to the layoffs. Losing that much institutional knowledge from ID Software is not even bloated. You got rid of it to not pay that much for those folks. And that statement that id Software posted, I have zero confidence in it. On top of that, the culling of Bethesda Studios is another concern, and that will have larger and damaging ramifications that I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 will live up to what folks want it to be. And hell, I can say it now, I doubt Todd Howard will last long at Bethesda with how much Microsoft laid off folks in Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, unless he's already training up new blood to take on the mantle he will pass down to. But hey, at least Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, Undead Labs are all good and can now do what they want without the bureaucratic sword on their backs and pushing them for these unobtainable goals. Right, guys? Hard sarcasm here. I'm still reeling from these layoffs, and I don't think these layoffs on Xbox will end even after Q1 2027. My hearts go out to those affected now and later on. Deep breath, because there's not really a question there. It's just anger.
It's a
That's
statement.
okay. That's okay.
Community rants.
Side screaming note, shut the fuck up about Queen Asha. I don't care if it's for the lulz or not, but it's clear that this is the painful Xbox reset was bound to happen, and it still pains me as I wrote the above. But clearly, some of you won't see the cause out of blind loyalty, so wipe that off your eyes and see what's happening now and later. Ruin Part 2.
What do queens do? They're not good.
Slay. Sony PlayStation killing physical media.
This is
We
just
all
as
knew
long.
and
Do we
know.
want to talk about the first part, or just?
I mean, there wasn't a question there.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, Finn, empathize, sympathize. We're all feeling that anger. Like, and to Sam's salient point, from our perspective, it is a little different in that we actually know some of these people. We have them in our WhatsApps. We have some of these people like by name, by number. Hey, buddy, how are you? Checking in.
How are you holding up,
I
Asha?
went through this.
You feel okay
I
about
went
doing
through
all
this
this?
last year. Went through it this year. Like, hey, buddy, you got. And it hurts. It hurts because we care about those people. They are more than
And
just
the access
a
they can
personal
give us
account.
sometimes. Be honest.
That too. Anyway, Ruin Part 2, Sony PlayStation. Getting physical media. We all know that Xbox has the lowest base of physical media compared to PlayStation, and we knew at some point they were going to announce to leave physical media space. No? Well, can't be surprised, because Sony announcing that they're ending physical media for PS5 was something I never thought they'd do first. Yeah, you and everyone else. And whoo boy, did it rattle so many folks in the PlayStation community to the point where this blowback will not die down for weeks, months, or even years, because I suspect this will be an ongoing thing forever. Of course, some of you dumbos will say, I have gone digital, so no issues with me. Digital is secure. You say that, but go read up on the DRM and the EULA end user license agreements cause that I can tell you this, it's not as safe as you say it is. I won't act shocked or surprised when you lose access to your favorite title from your library because you didn't understand or read the DRM or EULA. Killing physical media, regardless of where you stand on this, also affects the digital maker as well, and PlayStation only having one digital storefront is already bad enough. They will have more say and be exploiting to their heart's content. On top of that, the killing of physical media will have longer and wider ramifications that will be impacted harder than folks don't get. Secondhand markets wiped out, checks and balances on digital store prices gone, and the mom and pop shops that rely on this stuff to survive. I exclude GameStop because they've had digital cards online and in store, so they're okay, but they should be worried too. Plus libraries that also rely on this despite the small category they'll have of physical media on their shelves. The future of digital media on console is already frightening enough. I don't think legislation or laws will get passed now unless you vote in the right folks with the right politics. The clock is ticking, and I hope people are continuing to make noise on this despite it only being on social media and just a niche thing. Physical media is important years ago, in the past and now, because it shows the past, present, and future of the history of what was done and accomplished. Keep that torch lit up and continue to make that ungrateful noise. Yeah, like, again, I am one of those dumbos that doesn't care about physical media for himself, but I totally support everybody else's right, and I think it should stick around. I'll say that. Anyway, anything other comment on this rant from you two?
There actually was something, but with no offense, that was very long-winded, so I'm trying to recollect it.
I think Finn now has more said on this show than I do.
Yeah, I know, like, I feel you, and like, I'm fully digital, but scroll back to what I said before about physical media, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel the pain.
Yeah,
I do.
He's not done yet. Last, like, outro now. I wrote a lot, and I apologize again for this, but I worry for the future now things are not just in the games industry, but in general other parts of the world. Seeing all of this unfold has me hollow, and despite the small victories we are gaining in the US and elsewhere, it just feels like it's not enough. Here we go. 2 questions to ask. So we had the rants. Here's some questions. Where do we go from here? Let's deal with that first.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I would say, Jess, is that much like when companies get acquired or studios shut down, is there's always someone with a dream and always someone willing to make something, and they always find a way, because that's how human beings have been forever. Bunch of dreamers want to make something cool, and they go out and they find a way to do it. It will continue. The industry has a lot of problems ahead of it, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but I don't think games are ever going away. I think that the way the games are made needs to change, but it's up to smarter people than me to figure that out.
Don't worry, Unreal Engine 6's AI everything is going to solve it all. Blueprints.
And some additions here. Anything anyone else would add to that, by the way?
No, co-signed.
No. The only other line here was, how will we recover from this culling and that it won't be repeated into the future? I don't
Things
know.
will never be as good for tech as they were a few years ago. Like, tech will not... The apparatus that creates tech, and not just like entertainment, but even like friggin' CNC machines and stuff, like all of it's broken. It won't be fixed. It might stop being so constantly breaking more, but we'll never get back to where we were. So I'm people are just going to adjust to a new norm and wax nostalgic about times that actually were a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this, not to get political, but unionize. Fight for every scrap of dignity you can get, because companies will, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. I also love seeing the rise of development studios and of equivalent talent and prowess in other countries in the world, particularly shout out to Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of, I completely forgot about this. There's a whole new collector's edition for a game not out yet behind me, called Shards of Order. The team at Awaken Realms sent me the collector's edition for this. It comes with this little acrylic punch-out thing. Cool. It's got tarot cards. I've got a copy of the game that appears to be a rogue building deck-like.
Oh, you like those?
I do.
I do.
There was no embargo with it or anything, so I'll do my best to try and cover it by launch.
Nice. Last words from Finn here. These are questions that will range with many wide answers and something to ponder and think about now into the future. Cheers to all and salute. Finn, rants are all good, mate. Again, focus on what you can change. Hang out with the people that make it all feel better. Like, that's why we've got this community of people to kind of stick together and enjoy the video games and try and not focus on the existential crises that we are all facing. It'll all be okay, I think, eventually in some form. All right.
Especially if you go to playday.one/memberships, where for $4 a month, you can avoid all ads on the site and you can keep us going.
And then we'll move on to the forum here, where we've got a few questions, not too many, so this shouldn't take too long. First of all, Jesse Brother, whose birthday was earlier this week, happy birthday once again to you, sir. He says, Royal Navy, dead ahead. Happy podcast 322, you scallywags. So as your brother of Captain Norris, I've had the pleasure of playing AC Black Flag Resynced for a while, and I'm loath to admit Captain Clark was spot on. That game is phenomenal, and the only AC game I've enjoyed other than Shadows, which makes sense as I understand it uses the same engine. I wanted to contradict you, John, and say the best part was the combat, not the sailing and sea battles. Then I got my ass kicked a bunch of times at sea and looked into how to improve my ship, and damn it, I fell in love with that part of the game. The coolest moments in that game are meeting real-life legendary pirates like Blackbeard, Edward Teach, Benjamin Hornigold, Woodes Rogers, Charles Vane, Anne Bonny, and Jack Rackham. Because as someone who adored the show Black Sails, I flipped my blooming onion when I saw those characters. So this week's question is, did any of you ever see that style show Black Sails? If not, it's on Amazon Prime in the US. I never know with not so Great Britain. I haven't seen Black Sails, but I probably should, as my love for pirates.
Same. It's one of those like semi-permanently on my backlog list shows where it's like, oh yeah, that exists. I'm interested. Let me check that out sometime. And then life happens and there's so much to do. But yeah, I should also get around to that at some point.
Yeah. But I am very glad that Trav is enjoying Black Flag. And congrats to Mort for picking it up. Anyone else that watched the review and is teetering, do it. It's a great game. Next question from Hytham G. Statement. Now, I'm going to do this in best Nick Hytham G style. So let me prepare. Apologies for the sentence being long, but to kick things off, yes, we all saw the layoffs, which sucks, of course, in gaming, and the resetting of Xbox by what Asha did, since it is a pretty rough state for the division. But I do like to circle around on the Bloomberg and Jez article about Xbox strategy is this, with Xbox in a case-by-case basis of which Xbox originated game will stay exclusive or multiplayer, whether it is a single-player or live service multiplayer, or both a single-player and live service, though I can't fathom Xbox to move the needle on the exclusive part when it comes to Xbox prices being super expensive due to the price hike and trying to find ways to make Helix cheaper, though it may be tough, and I doubt that some sort of move, since I didn't even know that if it could move the needle, whether it would have exclusive if you are Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 and some other titles, but we'll see where this goes. That's a good statement. Yeah. Yep. We'll see where this goes. P.S. I have to disagree on Asha memo on multi-platform being a failure, because I'm two games like Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon 5 that are successful with over 1 million players on PS5, and if they're on Switch 1 or 2 and more players if that be the case. But when it comes to games already planned for PS5, I imagine Halo Remake will be a smash hit on, but maybe, who knows, but we will see.
I would say the failure was in what they made versus what they cost. Not direct money, but the platform, what it cost the platform versus what they gained on all of it combined. If everything was a Forza Horizon 5 hit, they'd be all in. They wouldn't be changing shit.
A lot of those ports, in fact, I'll say most of them actually do not cost what people think they made to cost. They were actually pretty dirt cheap. It's more of how much money did you make versus what kind of damage did this do to the brand, if the compounding dilution effect. And I think that's a complicated.
That is a complicated one.
Yeah.
Yep. And PSS, I think it should actually be PPS, but maybe
it is
Postscript.
Yeah. Let's say if Xbox was for sale, hyperbolically speaking. Now, this is interesting because when I was a kid growing up and I saw the word hyperbole, obviously it reads or looks like the word hyperbole. Did anyone else do this when they were
I've always said
before and you saw
hyperbole to
someone
be funny.
older than you, and it always looked like it was pronounced hyperbole?
The
And obviously that's
hyperbole.
Yeah, it's obviously meant to be said hyperbole, but hyperbolically, like I'm not sure about that, but I'm gonna go Google that. Speaking, I picked Nintendo or Valve to buy Xbox, but who knows really? I am amused.
Those are bad choices. Neither of them could afford Xbox.
Yeah,
That's the reality. I saw The Verge saying who could buy Xbox, who would even want to. That's the reality. Is like Xbox is massive. Like, and it's always made me laugh seeing all the, and I get being angry at the layoffs, but wishing for it all to stop and shut down and die.
We want the other 13,000 people gone.
Yeah, like are you fucking for real?
And people will like say, what about Elon Musk? He's like, he couldn't actually afford Twitter. Like, he doesn't have cash. He just has stock in everything. That's all inflated massively.
Yeah.
There is no people or company that can afford Xbox that you want to have buy it. That's the way I will put it.
Yeah.
As bad as Microsoft can be, and they can be bad, there's worse out there.
And they've been in the gaming industry for a very long time. Anyone else that could afford them has not, and will understand it even less.
And like we've seen the big players think they could just throw some money at the thing and come rolling in and it would just work. And then they've failed almost within a year. So, yes. Next question. Last two now from Didact Brewer 3 on Undead Labs. Hi, gents. One of the studios that Microsoft is getting rid of is Undead Labs, a studio which only made games on a core Xbox franchise, which has its initial roots during the Xbox Live Arcade era. That is with the original State of Decay. Surprise, it was an arcade game. While we don't yet know if Microsoft will sell the State of Decay IP with the studio, I think that's actually already been reported that every studio gets to keep their IPs because that's part of the value. Keep me honest here.
That is definitely the
case with Compulsion with Double Fine.
It's definitely the case with the teams that have gone independent. That is 100% the case. They have been given their catalogs back. It's more unclear and muddy with the sold studios, and I think that may be where the confusion on is Microsoft still publishing these games comes in. Because if Microsoft is holding on to those IP, then I would expect they better, sure as hell better, still be publishing Senua and State of Decay 3 respectively. Unclear, we're trying to find out. Yeah,
they did have the line, no announced Xbox first-party games have been cancelled.
Announced is a very, very important keyword there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like, is Marvel's Blade...
Well, Avowed 2 would be a cancelled, unannounced game.
Avowed 2 is not announced.
With the studios that have been sold, Marvel's Blade, Senua, and State of Decay 3 have been announced. Mm-hmm. So is that them saying these we
will see these games through no matter what? Like, I'd like to believe so, but who knows?
Okay, fair.
We are waiting for more info, especially with Arcane and Blade, because again, the process literally only just started.
Totillo's reporting was that the sold studios did not have a clause that the games have to be on Game Pass. What that ends up meaning, who knows?
Which would be something if you already are still publishing the game and you advertised it as coming to Game Pass for your audience, but I digress.
Yeah.
I think the things that in their announcing them, they were committed to see these games through and have them be in Game Pass. I would like to see that. That would certainly make me feel a heck of a lot better about some of it, especially State of Decay and Blade, for sure.
Yeah. Let me continue with the question here.
Yeah.
While we don't yet know if Microsoft will sell the State of Decay IP for the studio, it's the one game that they are parting ways with that has the most potential to be a really big, in a way, like, let's say, Ark Raiders is. Did the history of controversy with management of that studio weigh in on the decision to leave them? I mean, I think I've heard that they really had sort of troubles integrating with the Microsoft machine.
I've heard that there's some contradictory things I've heard. There's some things that are not contradictory and that are pretty objective. One is Undead Labs now is a different studio than it was. I know all studios are always changing, companies are always hiring people, and veterans leave. Like, no, Undead Labs is like entirely different. There's only a couple of people there that were there back when State of Decay 2 was made. The other thing is, I do know Philip Holt, the studio head, was extremely well liked within Xbox and Microsoft. He was they had fun nicknames for him that wasn't derogatory or anything. Like, he was very well respected.
Not derogatory.
No, he was very well respected. The way he integrated Undead Labs and was supporting other things. Undead Labs did support work on Halo Infinite. I don't think a lot of people know that, but they did a lot of support work behind the scenes.
Oh.
And they were collaborating with the Coalition on Unreal. So I say all that to say, who knows? It's definitely the weirdest of the four that they're.
Yeah, they also have a mocap studio, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. It's nowhere near as nice as Ninja Theories, but
yeah.
Ugh.
Which they're also letting go of. But I digress.
I think having that is one of the reasons they can sell them, because there is value.
Especially Ninja Theory. I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
He continues to say he really loves State of Decay, and the prospect of that not even releasing on Game Pass is sad for us on Xbox. It's like Sea of Thieves leaving the brand. P.S. Bonus question. What are your thoughts on Silo? Season 3 just started, and Rebecca Ferguson is such an underrated actress.
It's on the backlog.
I have been watching season 3 of Silo. I really like that show. I think this season is making me ask all sorts of what the fuck is going on questions.
Hey, you ever read the books?
I really want to, now that I've watched 2 seasons and a bit of the show. They're on my list, certainly. I really like it. I've been watching that and Star City, which I was going to write off, because I really like For All Mankind, especially during the early seasons when it was all in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. But Star City is going back to the 1969, but from the perspective of the Russians. And they landed on the moon first, and then they landed the first woman on the moon first, and all of this sort of jazz. But holy shit, that show is surprising the heck out of me. It's really high quality stuff. Would recommend if folks like grounded sci-fi stuff.
I like grounded sci-fi, and I have always had a crush on Rebecca Ferguson, so I should probably watch that at some point.
Silo's great in Doctor Sleep, The White Queen, lots of stuff.
Yeah,
I've never seen any of Mission Impossible.
Yeah, she's just a badass in Mission Impossible. But I've also been watching, seeing as we're on tangent of TV, finally getting around to watching season 5 of The Bear. I have just the finale to go, but I've really liked this season.
Nice.
Slow start, but now the last few episodes are back on form for me. Pure. I've never watched a show about food effectively, and a restaurant have me on the edge of my seat in a way like The Bear does when it's on fire.
Scoot back. It's not comfortable to be just on the edge.
Yeah, you're right.
I have not seen the latest season, but I have seen, I think, all the other, or that bonus episode they released. I haven't seen it either, but I've seen it otherwise, and The Bear is great. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Last question from good old Collingwood. Hello, John and Jesse, and welcome back, Sam. Subject: Project Positron. There's a strong rumor that the disc-to-digital program might be introduced next week. How many discs have you got to convert? Good old Collingwood. Or is it primarily positive that Project Positron will proceed promptly?
I don't think it works on 360 discs, so 0.
I love alliteration. Just want to say I'm a sucker for some good alliteration there, so bonus points to you. I need to check. I probably have at least a good dozen, I'll say, that should be eligible, because there's definitely a few. I've tried over the years to double dip, I bought Doom 2016 at full price when it came out, but I see it's only $5 in this super steep summer sale. Sure, let me just rebuy it digitally so I don't have to worry about hunting down the disc, right? So I've tried to do that over the years, but there's definitely a few games that have slipped through the cracks here and there. So And also, there's a tiny handful that have been delisted. Obviously, I'm thinking specifically of the Forza games, Forza Motorsport and the Horizon games. So those are going to be pretty vital to use. So definitely a good dozen, maybe a little more than that. The no 360 games is a bummer though, because that's where I could really go crazy on it.
Yeah, and what about you, Jesse? Have you got any?
I literally only have Batman Arkham Origins on 360. I have no other physical discs.
Same. I've got no physical discs at all anymore. I chucked it all out. I gave them away, but they're all gone.
You were going to check them out, but then you gave them away.
I was going to chuck them out, and then a kid walked past, and I was like, hey, you don't have to run an Xbox, do you? And they were like, yeah. I was like, here, take all these. And they were like, oh my god. I was like, just have them. Don't give a shit.
Amazing random encounter there for that kid.
But like, I forgot about asking about this question, and I would love to see. I'm surprised we haven't dived into this. Like, I heard a conversation point. I can't remember where I heard this, so maybe one of you two can clarify for me. But cast your mind back to 2013 with the whole debacle about Microsoft's original plan for disc to digital and how it would work. And it's keep me honest here. I've read that from the Xbox One generation onwards, Xbox physical games were produced with a specific unique code on each disc.
Yes, this is correct. Yep.
Built into their original program. And where they had to change everything, it was left in because that's how the games were produced, but it was no longer used. And they were effectively pulling back that feature and building it forward again.
That's right. And obviously changing the exact details of how it works.
Yeah, and supposedly some runs of discs, you don't have the identifier, which is why in the internal testing on Positron, there are certain games that may not work.
Fun fact, the leftover, this is just a quick side thing, because of that program being like they had to, scrap it at the last moment, that is why you can install a game from a disc on Xbox, and then if you buy it digitally, you can just keep on playing it, and there's no issues. You don't have to re-download it. That's not the case on PlayStation. If you install a game physically on PlayStation, and then you buy it digitally, it'll throw up an error, and you have to delete it and re-download it. But it's not the case on Xbox.
And on PS4, they were actually different SKUs that didn't even share save files.
That's right. Yeah.
So let me get this straight. I just want to understand this. In 2013, and this is much on Microsoft as it is on everyone that went mental, they had a plan and they built technologies to support the plan. And then, they just did not communicate well enough between their own.
The thing Jez said was
describe the fucking plan.
What Positron is supposedly what it was supposed to be the whole time, where the disc isn't a coaster. Like you could have handed it off and it just moved the digital license over. But they were so bad at explaining it.
Like it's on them for not explaining it, but also like
it was so much better of a system.
You know what I mean?
It was such a good system, and their idiocy around making people think it was something worse just ruined everything. Like just because even like people, I remember Jeff Gerstmann and others were like, we're on the bus going to the thing, and depending on who you talk to, it was a completely different answer. Like
different people got different answers from travesty.
Yep. Because this system's way better. Because this system is as consumer friendly as any of these companies are right now, where it is literally you have the disc, you have a license on the disc, and it gives you the digital one. Hell, with Play Anywhere, does that mean you get the freaking PC version too? Like, but that disc is not a coaster.
I assume it has to.
I don't think they're gonna have it broken out. That's just the way their system does just work, unlike anyone else's. So, but that disc is not a coaster. And I even see people on Reddit and all this stuff being like, "Oh yeah, but now the disc's useless." And it's like, no, you can just give that disc to anyone, and when they use it, and of course you have to be online. That's the entire point of the digital part of it. Once they're online, you lose the license, and they get it, and the disc is just the disc. Like it's a fantastic sounding thing if it works that way.
Yeah.
Oh my!
And supposedly that was always how it worked, which is the dumbest shit. It is like the dumbest own goal ever. It's not on anyone else that they completely messed up.
Genuinely astounding, if that is actually the case.
Yeah.
Genuinely astounding.
Well. What better way to end it than on a Microsoft flub, where they were once again
Which by Don
completely
Matrix,
correct.
Microsoft, and we have a Don Matrix stan on our forums now. He's in every thread talking about how great Don Matrix is. I've never seen it before.
Amazing.
He did launch one of the most successful electronic consumer products ever. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. It leaves a bad taste in my
The
mouth.
original
Sorry.
Connect
No.
was a massive hit.
Yeah, I know.
They got all the wrong lessons
really
from it.
enjoyed this slightly different flavor of the DayOne show today. Like, I feel like we've had a good discussion and talked through some of these problems. And I hope you in the chat, and if you're listening on Spotify after the fact, on your commute on a Monday morning or whatever the case may be, that you've enjoyed it too. We're going to wrap things up here now, but as always, we have to give a big thank you, not only to everybody that's joined us in the chat live watching today. England are still up 2-1. Sam, thank you once again for taking time out of your Saturday to come and hang out with us.
I appreciate the invite. I really do. It's been good having some regular chats with y'all, despite the subject matter. We're despite everything, we're making it work.
Maybe one time we'll get to have you on, like after Halo comes out. We can just talk about Halo Campaign Evolved.
That would be nice. That would. Although, actually, you say that, I will let you know right now. It's not a secret. I am taking a vacation at the end of the month.
Are Americans allowed to do that?
They are once they get laid off. That's how it works. I'm disappearing and visiting some friends for a few days, so timing may be a little tricky there, but we'll definitely make some stuff happen.
After Gears, something.
Maybe not that far out. We'll figure it out.
All right, after Fable.
I want to get on this because if I missed it, I missed it. Would I think it was a tip dropped through. Would you Santoso?
I don't see it.
I have
a good old Collingwood pumpkin update, please. Also, Sam, do you own any pets?
Oh,
pumpkin update first, and then I'll.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I will set up a pumpkin update. In fact, let me do it a different way. Hang on a second. Carry on. I'll be back in a second. You answer first about pets.
Yes. So I have one big old cat named Blue. I got him a couple of years ago. He had a different owner, and friends of my mom's actually who owned him, but he wasn't working out in their living environment. So they asked, "Hey, would you be willing to take this cat?" And I was like, "Sure, trial basis. We can try it out." And absolutely love him to death. He's very grumpy with everyone except me, and he cuddles up to me and sleeps. He'll sleep right in my arm if I'm working or anything like that. So he's wonderful. I have some pictures of him on my Blue Sky profile. In fact, I think my pinned post has a picture of him.
And Lydia, I can't find any super chat from you. I'm sorry.
Just drop it in the chat. For everyone who is a regular listener, if you're watching on video, this is Little Pumpkin. She's still on cage rest, so she's going a bit stir crazy and is not enjoying life. But as you can see, she's sitting very still right now. So I've got to support her. She's obviously had all of her backside operated on. I would spin her around, but you can see. She's feeling a bit sorry for herself, but she's such a good girl, and we are so grateful to everyone that helped save her life. And so she, aren't you, darling? No. But she's lovely and she's doing okay. She's on reduced painkillers now because the prescriptions have run out and run their course.
It was as good old Collingwood. Got it, Woody.
And there we go. But yeah, Pumpkin is doing okay. She's purring because this is like the first time she's been out of her cage in like 4 hours. So she's probably quite happy to settle here, which before she got hit by the car, she was not a lap cat. But now I think she would quite happily be one, actually. Oh, bless her little heart. Anyway,
on that adorable note,
big thank you to everybody for hanging out. Sam, for joining us and giving up some of your time. Everyone in the chat, and if you're listening on your phone and after the show's been live, go check out campaign-mode.ghost.io. Go sign up because Sam does good shit and you should probably be available to read it. Sign up while it's free because it won't be free forever, etc. etc.
Link in the description.
On Tuesday with a new episode of Headlines. Let's see what Monday brings in terms of video game news. I'm sure it'll be calm and reasonable and fine. But one thing you can be assured of is there'll be plenty of video games to talk about, at least. Till then, goodbye from Pumpkin and goodbye from us. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Take care, y'all.